everyone. Welcome to our inaugural episode of TJ Hates Quitters. And this is the Challenge Recap Podcast for Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. My name is Kari, and I am joined by two of my favorite people to podcast with this evening. I am joined by Jason. Jason, how are you tonight?
What's going on? I'm so excited to be back talking about the Challenge All-Stars, doing wonderful, and excited to hear what y'all thought about these episodes.
And I am also joined by my Circle co-host, Josiane. Josiane, long time no see. How are you doing this evening?
Oh my God, it feels like an eternity. It feels like just yesterday we were podcasting. I don't know. Wow, what a time. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to talk about the Challenge All-Stars. This seems like such a good cast. I love the premise. I'm excited to just get into it with you guys.
Yes, me too. I have to say that I binged All Stars season 2 just last week in
who won that
preparation
season?
for this. Jason, the whole time I was thinking of you. So Josiane, here's something you need to know about Jason.
Okay.
If there is anyone who is Jonna's biggest fan,
This
it
guy.
is Jason.
Really? Okay.
The whole season he was like rooting her on, had so much faith in her, and she did finish as the top female in the first season.
Yeah.
She should have won some sort of prize, but when she won season 2, there is one person on my mind, and it was Jason.
Okay, good to know. So, note to self: Jason is a Jonna defender.
No Jonna slander.
No Jonna slander allowed.
None whatsoever.
But not in our sphere.
Not in this house. I just watched season 2, and it just got me like so amped for this season. And then seeing how, I still feel like people like Wes and Kayla and Sylvia could like hold their own on a regular season of the challenge. So to see them here, I was like, all right, like we're like bringing in a new wave of all-stars, but we still have these OGs that just make it so much fun that I think it's such a great mix. Jason, besides Jonna, obviously, who are you excited to see here on our All-Stars Season 3 cast?
I was really excited to see Yes come back. You know, he was not participating in All-Star Season 2. He is still a reigning champ because he hasn't lost yet. I think he is wonderful. I was really excited to see Tina back. I had no idea her and Veronica were such good friends. And at first, I was like, what is Sylvia doing on All-Stars? But after watching these 2 episodes, I forgot how great she is. And I think she should be a champion. She still should. Her and Joss should have won Final Reckoning. I strongly believe this. And I think if she went back on a normal season, she'd be able to win. And I have to say last, of course, obviously, I'm so excited to see Darrell back on this season. I mean, right?
If you don't love Darrell, you just got to get out. That's it.
Yes, TJ hates Quitters, and we love Darrell. Okay, like fair warning, no Jonna slander or Darrell slander in this house.
Josiane, now pre-podcast, we were talking about how there might be a little bit different of perspective of favorites on this cast because there's some people who made their challenge premiere when you were like -2 years old.
Yeah, some negative even 3. Yeah, I was born in 2001, y'all. Be gentle with me.
Jason's face.
Yes, I'm an 01 baby girl. Hey. Anyways, but I definitely think I have a different perspective for sure because I didn't grow up with a lot of them. I started watching the Challenge Fresh Meat 2. And so a lot of like how I view some of the cast members are very different. A lot of them I'm learning like who they are for the first time. Obviously I know players like Brad because of Cutthroat, I believe was the season or whatnot. But I'm very excited actually for Nia. She was someone I was not expecting to come on. I think she would have won her original season where she was partnered up with Leroy. I think what was that? Exes or was that Rivals? I'm blanking. But that season, I literally thought she would win. So I'm excited to see her, and she hasn't been on the television in a while, and I can tell that there's been growth. And honestly, I'd like to see that people grow and change. So I was excited. And obviously, because Nia came in with Jordan. I'm like, what?
Are they dating? Like,
they definitely are.
They are dating.
Like, they're not saying it, and even on their Instagrams, it's like, my good friend. Like, yeah, good friend you have sex with. Like, what are you talking about?
The moment they came on, I was like, no, y'all. Like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I'm excited for Jordan. Obviously, Jordan comes from like an interesting past, with Tori and some of his words or statements. But yes, because of the dynamics, I was like, this is really interesting because I'm here for the drama as well as like the competition, But aside from that, obviously Darrell is a big one. I was really shocked to see a few people because I thought the Challenge All Stars was just like, I guess, the older generation of the challenge. And so to see like people that I recognize, I feel like I haven't seen not too long ago on the regular challenge, I was like, this is very interesting. Like Wes, for example, I understand because like him and Johnny Bananas have been here for a long time. But like obviously, like Kayla, Sylvia, I was very shocked to see on the show. But I welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, I do wonder if this whole format is a bit more appealing to people like Kayla, Wes, and so on because it's much less of a time commitment than an actual season. Because like those regular seasons now, I mean, they're on our TV for 6 months at a time that they have to, if you're there for the whole time, you're easily there for a month and a half at least. It has to be. So I would understand being like, oh, well, I am like a little bit older, so I only have to go for like 2 weeks. Okay, like fine by me. But yeah, you guys have hit on some of the people that I'm excited about. I personally enjoy Wes. I know that we have some issues with him and Devon. I know that.
I did talk about this yesterday. I was like,
yes,
I can't support him because of what he did to Devon.
I just like, I like rooting for a villain sometimes, and he's always going to be a villain. But the thing about him is like everyone who hangs out with him in real life, like loves him, like absolutely loves him. Like, and so that he's not a shitty person, but he comes on this to like almost get out all of his manipulative side. And even like his friends come on the show are like, I love him, but he's a fucking squirrel. Like, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. And so I like that about him, that like everyone knows to separate real life Wes from game Wes. So I'm here for whatever drama he brings, whatever game moves he has. And I'm also really excited for Sylvia as well. Like, I have to reiterate that I do think that she could do well still on a regular challenge season.
Yeah.
And I agree, like she got hosed in the end of Final Reckoning. But I'm excited for her because I do think that she has a good read on herself where she says it, like, everybody thinks I'm an underdog, but she like proves herself, but not so much in a way where you're threatened by her. It's almost like you're impressed by Sylvia, but never threatened. And I just like how she's able to pull that off.
And she has a hometown alliance with Wes, as they are, I think, two of the only challenge competitors ever to be from Kansas City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did like when, I know it's going to the second episode, but when they were coming out of the house and they like both did the hand grenade thing, like, okay, that's funny. I like this. So we have a stacked cast, and we know this because at the beginning of the first challenge, TJ tells them every single person here has made a final before. That's wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
And some of them I don't even remember making a final. And like, I don't know if they count All-Stars finals as part of that, right? Because like 10 people make the final in All-Star seasons.
Because has Jemmye like ever made an actual, like a non-All-Stars final?
I think her night came in like third place in like their first season ever.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Otherwise, everyone else I know has made a regular final. I just wasn't sure about Jemmye. So yeah.
I love this premise because I love the fact that you can't underestimate anyone. I feel like sometimes, well, less all stars than like just regular challenge, but I feel like there's a lot of like I'm better than this person, and they underestimate a lot of their competitors. When in reality, their people have their strengths and weaknesses, and so you can't say anything bad about anyone on this cast about strength or weaknesses because they've all proven themselves because they've all been to finals. So that means you've done an entire season of the challenge and gone to the place you've been. Like, I don't remember who said it, but someone has gone to the final without even being in an elimination, and I was like, what the heck? Like, that's so cool. Like, props to you. And yeah, so I'm just very excited that I don't have to hear like those shenanigans, like those like weird connotations of like underestimating people. So I was amped for this. I was like, yes, like this is what we want. This gives All Star to me, like a new meaning behind All Stars.
And one thing that stood out to me, I just want to say off the top about these 2 episodes is that, like, is Derek on this season? Like, he's there, right?
Yes.
He did get a little commentary in
on episode 2, right?
Yeah.
Because he was all over the first 2 seasons, like as a face of the franchise almost. And it was like they were hiding him. Maybe they're saving him for later.
I do think part of that is because he has the following with the podcast. Like, they're arguably the biggest challenge podcast out there. So he has connections. And there's people that are watching and rooting for Derek because of listening to that podcast so often. Josiane, the person you were talking about, it was Ronnie, who's a 2-time champion and never been in an elimination. I knew I typed that out.
Crazy. So. That's wild. Like, mad respect.
So let's jump straight into this first challenge. There is a name, and I won't lie to you, I didn't write it down because it did not stand out to me to write it down. You know what? Name doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So
I think it was tunnel vision.
What we have of this first challenge is there is a wall. What, tunnel vision?
Yeah, I think it was called tunnel vision.
You said it was tunnel vision?
Yeah, tunnel vision.
I know, I just froze. Good. We're going to call it tunnel vision even if it wasn't called tunnel vision. So okay, we're back. My Wi-Fi is being stupid. It's been good for so long. Okay, so tunnel vision is the game, and the premise of it is there's a wall that has like 3 holes in it, and everybody runs up to the wall, can look through it, and on the other side there's a puzzle with like 16 unique pieces, but they share a lot of commonalities, and whoever can run up to the wall, memorize pieces, go back to the puzzle, put it together first, wins. What we know going into this challenge is the last place woman and the last place man are both going straight into the elimination, and you're basically told you want to win. You have power if you win. That's really all we know going into it. We have the men going first, and I don't think there's a lot to comment on with this challenge in terms of like strategy or anything else because it's just a bunch of people running up to a wall. However, I do laugh in a like, oh, that sucks type of way when Cyrus was like, I'm colorblind.
No, because that was so bad. I was like, there's no way. I'm like, he has to be joking. Like, he's pulling our legs. And then, no, he's actually colorblind. I was like, King, go through it. You got this. Like,
and that's a disadvantage. Like, production knows this when they're designing the challenges, that they are setting him up to be the last place finisher in this challenge, I thought. Which is unfair. I love Cyrus.
Yeah, he definitely, I mean, when the colors mattered so much, and I obviously don't know what it's like to be colorblind, so I don't know if you just like see it as a different color or if it's just like, do red and purple look the same to you? So you can't tell the difference between the red parts and the purple parts. Like, but regardless of what it is, as soon as he said the puzzle, like with the colors and things, I'm sure Cyrus was like, shit, I came out here for a day and I'm going home.
Literally. I will say the only other thing about the challenge was I was expecting like more people to like, I don't know, push. I don't know if they're like kind or like, I don't know what it is, or they're all like feeling a little old. I don't know. But it's like there's a small hole, and it just felt like, especially Tyler, like Tyler was like, let me sit here and wait while everyone looks. Like, no, push someone. Like, I don't know if it's just that comes off a little aggressive, but I'm like, move someone, push someone, hit someone. Like, you don't want to be last. Hello? Like, are we not scared of elimination with this cast? Like, I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of kindness. It was giving very Canadian energy, which is like fine, but like I don't expect that from the challenge. Like, that's not what I'm expecting.
No, I agree with you, Josiane, because like I think of the last 2 All-Star seasons, the first challenge has been really physical. And this one was just like run up, look, oh, okay, you look first. Oh, I'll wait in line. And that is not Challenge All-Stars. And I bet TJ, even though they didn't show it, was probably like yelling at them. Like, let's go, get physical. Who wants to see it first?
Yeah.
But it just didn't happen.
Yeah, and I did like, though, that we got everyone at once as opposed to, like, the second episode where we got heats and stuff.
Yes.
That gets, like, a little difficult to, as a viewer, to figure out, like, okay, did this person come in first, second, whatever? And I'm not going to lie, because I think we can all agree on this. MTV has done some sketchy shit in the past when there's no like timers being shown to us as audience members. So anything that we're like, they're not all doing it at once, I am already skeptical of.
Fair.
Definitely.
So they run back and forth, right? And Wes comes in first, or should I say Wesley, as MJ called him, which it made me chuckle. Not the government name, but we had Wes come in first, and then Yes come in second, and MJ came in third. Cyrus loses to almost no one's surprise because, again,
my man can't see.
Disadvantage. What if he? Oh my god! What if he like broke out those glasses? You know how there's glasses you can wear if you're colorblind, and like you can actually see colors. Oh, there's like TikToks and stuff of people like seeing color for the first time, or not just color, but like
so cool, actually
seeing things like correctly for the first time. Like, what if he was like, "Oh, you thought you were gonna get me," and then like pulls out his shades.
It's actually like goggles, and he's like, it's giving like B, like I don't know. That would be so funny. I wish. You know what? Next time he can pack it with him if he shows up to All Stars 4. And then he can go, you thought you could get me again, and pull it through. Hopefully, manifesting.
Out of all of this, I was actually really surprised that MJ finished in the top 3, because to me, when I think about him, and after watching him win last season, he is not like known for his skills in puzzles. And so I really thought someone else would get ahead of him, like Darrell.
Yeah, I think that this could have been like anybody's challenge, which is a reason I liked that they did this one first, because it wasn't even as much of a puzzle as it was running back and forth and memorization.
Yeah.
So I do like when we have those puzzles or those challenges where anyone can win. It's not going to be the biggest or the fastest. Like, you have to have a little bit of everything in order to be able to be successful in it.
Yeah, I will say, we'll see what it's like to do a puzzle. The equalizer, as someone called it, ironically. So yeah, I do think that having something that like memorize, first of all, you have to have stamina, like the running back and forth. It's expected in a challenge, but the memorization part, I feel like that's very important as well. Like that we've seen recently, like with like math equations or whatever else it might be, like codes. And so I really like that was the first challenge, because I feel like the first challenge sets the tone. So this feels like the most balanced challenge that they could have for the beginning.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. After the men, we obviously have the women go. And something that made me laugh was Wes at the beginning when he's like, "I'm supporting you all equally," when like people are like cheering for people. Like, what a Wes thing to do is just yell that from the side. Kayla coming out here with some shades saying like she's more likely to win because she's younger with better eyesight. I like Kayla. I don't know how you guys feel about her, but I think like she's got enough attitude in the confessionals to be entertaining. But I think she's also really good at fostering relationships with who she wants to, but does not have an issue of like being upfront. And I mean, she said she's like, I'm known for bringing the drama. Like, she stands up for herself and the people that she's loyal to. So like, I think she is a great character for the challenge. I don't know how you guys feel about her.
I mean, I personally, the reason why I feel like I have an interesting perspective is because I don't know if you guys watched Lindsay Lohan's reality TV show, like the Mykonos one.
Yes, I watched it. Kayla.
I didn't know she was coming on the show. So I was watching it and I was like, where do I know this girl from? And I was like, the challenge? I don't know how like the two translates, but okay, girl boss, like do your thing. And so like I have my perspective of her from that show, which I like no shade to Lindsay Lohan, but sometimes I was like, girl, you're doing too much. So siding a little bit with Kayla. I just feel like when she plays in the challenge house, she has her group of people that I don't usually root for, like Nani and Jenna, which nothing wrong with them. They're just not the people I usually like root for.
Mhm.
And so to see her not with that group, I'm like a little bit more open to it, but it's like I'm not like crazy about her being on. Like there are individual players that I would have loved to see on All Stars for sure, like that are technically in her age group or her era of the challenge. But I like that we're getting a chance to see her as who she is outside of like the drama from the outside world coming into the game and like her and the Holy Trinity. So I mean, she gives me energy and spunk and I like it, but I was like, girl, be careful with the ageism. You never know. They're OGs for a reason. Like they will whoop your butt. Like don't be talking all that shit and then regretting it later. Like I don't know.
And that's what I think is going to happen. I was not excited to see Kayla on this season, but I was really happy in the first 2 episodes. Like she's here to bring the drama. She's here to mix it up, which I want to see.
Yeah.
And I also love all of her new tattoos. Her sleeve is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, attention to detail. Oh my God, I did not even know that she
I'm a
had
big
the
tattoo
sleeve.
person. She used to only have the hot air balloon, but now it goes all the way down to her wrist, full of American traditional style tattoos. So gotta give respect.
I will be asking you to tell me every single different detail about everyone else from the rest of this podcast because I literally feel like I stare at it like very like big, like just looking at what's happening kind of thing. And you're telling me that she has a new sleeve and all that stuff. I'm like, Jason, you're our detail person, I guess.
I'm a tattoo guy. What can I say?
No, Jason is very good at noticing small details of things that happen within these shows. Like there's been plenty of times when we podcast about the challenge back in the day that I was like, wait, what? Like this happened? How did you like remember or notice this?
A perfect example would be, we didn't talk about this, but like earlier before the challenge, Naya and Jordan, when they were talking outside, they just came in. Did y'all see how they were covered in sweat?
No.
It was disgusting. They were dripping on their faces, like through Jordan's hat. And I'm like, go inside. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? These are the things I put in my notes.
I couldn't even tell you what color dress she was wearing.
Me neither, but I saw them dripping in sweat.
You saw the sweat. Oh my goodness.
This is what Jason brings to the table.
You bet.
Just detail and sweat. Tattoos and sweat.
I will say before we leave the Kayla topic, a reason I'm a fan of her is I don't know if any of you watched her Real World season, but their Real World season almost had some like road rules component to it where it was like they had to do these like different challenges and one of them they had to like hike up this mountain and she couldn't do it. Like she struggled. And so when I saw that she was cast for the like her first challenge season, I was like, girl couldn't even hike up a mountain. Why the fuck are they bringing this woman on here? Like give me the people who can compete. But she said like that mountain hike like motivated her to like go and get in shape and start working out and stuff. And so like she has a self-awareness to her that if you're going to be as direct, as blunt, and have the personality that she has, to also like be able to work on your flaws at the same time, but own like who you are. Like I really respect that about her. And so I know that she's not people's favorites, but I have a soft spot for Kayla in my heart. And I'm happy that she is here and I'm excited to what she brings or what she's going to bring because we've seen in 2 episodes already, like Jason said, she's here to play.
And she's way better than Kellyanne.
I will say that I'm learning so much about you two. So Kari just likes to root for people that people traditionally just don't like. And then Jason likes to pay attention to details that no one will literally pay attention to. So,
I'm also loyal to the soil because I love Nani. I had such a reaction when you said that earlier about
your
her.
face, Jason, when she was like, Nani.
I mean, if I have to pick between Nani and Bailey, I'm picking Bailey. Oop. Well, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's weird because like in different shows I have different rooting interests. Like if you hear me talk about the Real Housewives, I always gravitate towards like the most normal one and like who's the most grounded. But then in shows like this, like I do like people who are going to like back up their shit talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've always
Same.
been a massive CT fan because regardless of like who you are, what you think about him, what you do, what you say to him, like he will still go out there and kick your ass any day of the week. And so like no matter what he does or says, like he knows he can win it, and I like that in a challenge competitor. Because like not to get too off topic, but some of my biggest gripes about our like flagship challenges lately have been like we're bringing on both men and women, but more so women who don't stand a chance to win a final. Like, do not give me these people. Go and find me beasts. Go and find me the Jennies. Like, give me the people who, like, okay, they might be a little
Amber
bit
B.
more boring, but at the same time, like, can back it up.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's why I like All Stars a lot more than I do the regular challenge now, because it just reminds me of classic challenge. Like people who are here to party but also compete, and it's not that deep. Like it's just like they love the game and they love to compete. Whereas I feel like now the new challenge, like I'm a strategic person. Like I come from a background of Survivor and Big Brother. I get it. I love the strategy. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like the challenge is all about competition. And so when you come in and you're like, I don't want to see elimination, I don't want to do this. Like it's to the point where now we have to make twists where people have to get skulls to make to the final because people just don't respect the art of the game like they used to. And so like I agree. Like we need more women on the cast who are like down and get like dirty with even like some of the men. Like obviously when I'm talking about this, I'm talking in the general sense, not all stars. But like, yeah, we need to bring back the competitors. Like I even like a lot of them like to fight in real life. I like that energy. Like I don't like the throwing drinks weird thing, like whatever. But yes, I agree. Bring me back the CTs, bring me back the Jennies. Like a little bit of personality won't hurt anybody though. But yes, totally on you with that one. I back you up.
So let's get into the women's heat of this. We have Sylvia coming out here and showing every single challenger what is up. She got it on her first check.
Yeah,
and
unreal.
I believe it was Jordan who is like, she did it in half the time of any of the guys in one check. Like, holy shit. Like, she definitely impressed Jordan, at least in that. And I mean, Jordan has a legacy of being one of the best challengers ever. And so if you're impressing Jordan, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So we had Sylvia come in first, Kellyanne come in second, and Veronica come in third. Cynthia lost. We haven't really talked about Cynthia yet. Cynthia, I got to scroll up in my notes. Cynthia was on the first challenge in 1998.
-3.
Yeah. So Josiane is -3 years old. I was in 4th grade, maybe 5th, depending on when this aired. But she's coming back from a long time ago.
But and as Tina said, she still looks the exact same.
Yes.
Nehemiah's interested in her.
Yes.
No, Nehemiah. I was sick. I was like, why are we getting this segment of Nehemiah? What do you want, Nehemiah? He's going to flirt with a pulse. I'm so sick. Like, you're so unserious, my guy. I'm like, I can't.
Didn't him and Jemmy mess around the first season?
That's what I'm saying. Like, Nehemiah will flirt with anybody with a pulse.
What is Nehemiah's type?
Nehemiah's type is pulse. Pulse.
Because I feel like there was someone last season where he was like, yeah, she looks good. And I can't remember who it was, but I was just like, damn, Nehemiah, like, what's up?
Beth, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Goodness gracious.
So after we have the winners, we didn't really know that it mattered at this point who came in after first, because last season it was the first place male and the first place female who did people who like the house would vote on. But instead, once we're all lined up, we realized that, oh, we're getting the authority. So TJ explains the authority that is as the top 3 women finishers and the top 3 men finishers for the challenge. And TJ lets you know here that if you finish in first, you have the opportunity to sabotage anyone in the next challenge. So we get a bunch of information at the end of this challenge. So our authority here is Sylvia, Kellyanne, Veronica for the women, and then we have Wes, Yes, and MJ. Wes and Yes is going to be a difficult one for me all season. Why we got to be off by just a letter? Can't we have Wesley, Yes, and MJ?
Yeah, we start calling him Wesley now. Come on, government. Give it to us. Wesley.
And before we leave the challenge, we get a cut to Wes, which I thought was hilarious, of him being like, power, like afraid to say names, like shut the fuck up, I'll say all the names. Something that goes underrated before I get off of this in the challenge all-stars is being able to hear the F-bombs, because it just makes it so much better. So after the challenge, the common theme of conversation is like, what's Wes gonna do? Which is kind of crazy to me. What do you guys think about this, of everyone seeing this as this is Wes's decision, even though there's 6 people in the authority?
I thought it was obvious because he's the most dominant out of those 6. You know, him and Sylvia are already working together. Kellyanne is from the same era as Wes. She just follows whatever other people say. I actually thought Veronica was going to be a big influencer also, just because she's very vocal. But she really folded all her cards in that authority conversation. I was really disappointed.
I don't like. To me, it's like someone has as much power as you give them.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like West is the perfect example. Like a bunch of people are like, I don't trust him. I don't know if I can work with him. Blah, blah. Like we get a whole sequence in the beginning prior to even the challenge, just talking about West, which I get. Like what made me laugh is that Darrell made a reference to what Davon said about West, which was calling him Rumpelstiltskin. And I died. I literally died. I almost tweeted at Davon. I was like, Davon, have you seen this? That was so funny. So yes, and Rumpelstiltskin is also another option as a name to avoid mixing them up. But I was like, there's a lot of power just being given to Wes. Like, you don't have to follow him. You can stand up for what you want to. But because I don't know if it's like the first week or they're just very intimidated by Wes, like, I don't know. They just like give him the power to do that. So was I crazy? Like, was I shocked that people were like, oh my God, this is Wes' decision? No, but that's because I know that they also give him that power. And that power, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I think there are a few people who just don't give him the power or allow him to do that. And that's the people who Wes fears. Not because they're great competitors, but they don't, like, I guess, submit to him, for lack of a better word. So, yeah.
And that's why he always worked with rookies. That was his strategy, because they'll just say, oh, you're a veteran, I'll do whatever you say. Like, that's who he wants to work with.
Yeah, that does add an extra layer of complexity in All-Stars, is you have a couple of people who don't have relationships with anyone else, but then you have people who continued to watch the series throughout the time that they weren't on. So they've seen Wes in action. You have people who have remained friends outside of here. You have people like Derek, who like talks to people because of his podcast, who has like, you have all these different layers of relationships to navigate, that it's so hard to know which ones are going to take precedent over others.
Yes.
And it's a cool layer of complexity, because you do see people like throw their friendship to the wind walking into this house, knowing that like the money still matters, and they've all done enough of these, and they're all like older as well, that like it's not as, they realize there's more to life than winning $500,000, but also know that like it's okay to put themselves first in it. It's really cool, all the layers we get out of this All-Stars season.
And another thing that I just saw in the comments that Josh Green put into chat was that Wes apparently back in the day dated Kayla. Like,
no,
whoa.
I think it was Kellyanne. I think it was Kellyanne.
Oh, is it Kellyanne? Okay, because I read it wrong then, because I was like, Kayla and Wes, oh my God, make that a TV show. Kellyanne, I can see them together. That makes a lot more sense.
That's so
Kayla had like that guy Mikey, and then she cheated on Mikey with Bear, and then she ended up with the guy that she's now married to while she was over in the UK, Sam Bird from Love Island. So
she got married to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just got married recently.
Wow.
Isn't that that's so tea. That's what I mean. And this is what's great about All Stars too. Obviously I am an avid person who loves mess. I literally have a podcast called Just So Damn Messy where we talk about the mess. But what I appreciate is that, and this is kind of how I feel also like within like the mini community to a degree, is people who can take game outside of personal. Like obviously sometimes you can leverage relationships that you have outside of a game in a game. But I like that at the end of the day, it's always like, I have respect for you. I love the game so
Hey,
much.
Nitro.
And hi, Nitro. I have respect for you and the game. So therefore, you know, what happens in the game happens in the game, but we can move forward and become friends.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Like I love that about All Stars.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we've seen it in the first 2 seasons. We'll continue to see it now that these relationships supersede what happens in the game. Like there might be frustration, but at the end of the day, they know that like they need to do what's best for them. And I think even more so because they're all older, a lot of them have families. Like they're not 20 somethings just playing for themselves, that they have a lot of people that they want to support. And they also realize that other people have the same thing. So it's like selfish to view it like I need this money more than whoever does. Like in the regular challenge, we hear like Corey, like, oh, I'm playing for my daughters, and like CT's got his kids home, and like the kids come up a lot, right? But
Corey's a parent.
Corey,
no way.
Stop it.
He literally
Stop it right now.
I can't tell if Jason is joking with me ever. Like earlier before we came on, Jason was like, "Who's that redheaded guy?" What? I literally lost my mind. You know, I can't. I'm gonna wait until Kari gives me a reaction of what if it's actually true or not before I say anything anymore.
I just forgot, you know.
No, I can't. I was gonna say he's on Team Mom. Like
I was gonna say
not that I watch Team Mom, but like, come on, at least I know that.
So can we talk about the thing that happened after the challenge that I was loving seeing, which was the party and everyone's grand entrance?
Yes. The jungle party. Let's get into this. Who was your favorite entrance?
Come on, Tyler. Are you kidding
me?
Easy,
no competition.
Yes.
Tyler came in. Oh, just the fan. The 2 boys beside him. It was all about everybody like kneeling, bowing down. It was giving what the girlies wanted. And I love that. Forget a whole club, like a secluded club. I like the parties in the middle, and you come up with your own themes and have a good time, play the music. Oh, I was here for it. Tyler ate down.
Okay, is this a dumb question? I'm going to ask it. This is a safe space. So, do they tell these people ahead of time, like pack a costume for a jungle party? Or do they have like boxes of jungle costumes and say, pick from this?
I think it's the second.
You think so?
Because I remember like last year they did like the 90s party. Like you think they all went out and bought this like vintage 90s stuff?
Maybe. I mean, they all knew they were going to be on TV again. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Like, is that a dumb question? I don't know if it is or not.
I don't think it's a dumb question because, like, I feel like that's a thought that I would probably have after the show and not during, because I'm just so in it that I don't care. Like they could have told me that they picked it from the plant beside them and that it's a magic plant that just gives them the outfits that they need, and I would have believed it because I just get so entranced and into these shows that like I just don't be thinking about it. I'm like, worst case scenario, production has some costumes for them and is like, here you go.
And I also want to comment on, even though I barely remember what it was, like in my notes I have like Yes and Veronica also had great costumes on. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
Didn't they just wear regular like Hawaiian t-shirts?
I think it was just their vibe. Like he was walking in like a champ. And that is just like so different than the Yes we saw on season 1 when he was, you know, making coffee for
a
people
little bit
in the morning.
Reserved. Yeah.
Like, let me make oatmeal for you. And now he's just walking around like he knows his shit doesn't stink. And I love seeing that side of Yes.
That's something I wanted to talk about when we talk about like the second episode, and kind of like we got kind of that a little bit also in the preview. I think the contrast between a lot of people from the initial season versus what they are now is really crazy, and he's one of them. Like I remember watching season 1 and being like, he's just giving very like furniture, like not in a bad way. It was just like he was there, like I wasn't really thinking about him. And so for him to come on this season and kind of, I feel like there's a few stars that we've seen like just really shine these last 2 episodes, but he's one of them. And if you would have said that to me when I was watching season 1, I would have been like, you've lost your mind. There's no way. And so I love that. There was also someone with a leaf in front of their junk. I don't remember who it is. I love that costume. I saw that and I literally lost my mind. I was like laughing my head off.
I just love the return to form of like the challenge seasons that we adore, which is you have the challenge that day, everyone gets shit-faced that night, and then the elimination is the next day, and there's no regard for if you're going into the elimination or not, if you're drinking or not. You know what I mean? Like now it's so much more coordinated and calculated in terms of like, oh, I might be going in, so I'm not drinking. And it, especially like the last couple of seasons being COVID, they've had to kind of like restrict where they're going or whatever. But I really just miss like these 2 episodes are the ideal setup of episodes. You have a little bit of pre-challenge stuff, you have the challenge, then you have the going out, and then you have the elimination. And like don't change that. Use it. If it's not if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Like this works. This provides everything we need as viewers. And I also say this to the flagship challenge as well. Y'all getting off on your little like cliffhangers and stuff. No, leave me on my cliff. I'm not hanging from shit. I want it to end at the end of the episode.
I agree. First of all, thank you, Josh Green, for clarifying that it was Jordan. Jordan ate down with the leaf. Yes, he did. I was here for it. It was giving me George in the jungle, and I loved. But
Jordan in the jungle.
Jordan. There we go.
Come on now. That deserves some snaps. Yes, I agree. I just love this type of challenge, and that's why I think All Stars will just be what we're getting now. Like I don't care about spies, lies, and allies. I don't care about all that stuff. War of the World, I couldn't care less. Okay, I just sorry. Josh Green wrote a comment that made me laugh. He said he may be a dick, but he ate that with that outfit. I agree. Anyways, but all that to say is that this is what us fans of the challenge who have been watching for forever like to see. And I don't know why all of a sudden they're creating this new formula. I don't know if they think that the new age of like challenge fans just love this format, but I haven't met any new challenge fans ever. Like I just feel like everyone who I've been around, I'm probably one of the youngest people I know that watches a challenge and I've been watching since Cutthroat. So obviously I know what the gag is. I know what's happening. So I just like, who cares about the themes? Give me classic old challenge. Give me people who party, don't have a care in the world what happens in the next day, because that's the formula that we fell in love with. Yeah. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Come on now. I just don't make no sense.
Yeah. And another thing, I agree with you, that stood out to me during the party is like the champ of the day, Sylvia, right? She goes up to Cynthia and she's like, who do you want to go against? Like, you're going in, give me a name. And this shows how long it's been since Cynthia was on the show. She says, oh, just choose for me. And I was yelling at my TV like, Cynthia, this is the challenge. She's letting you choose who you're going against. Just say someone. And in that moment, I was like, I think Cynthia's going home. Like, she does not have what it takes to come back and compete in Challenge All Stars.
I think Cynthia just doesn't care. She's like, I'll take
She got
anyone.
her paycheck already.
Honestly, but I don't know if it could easily be the check. Like, you know what? Me too. I love to secure a bag and like do the bare minimum for the bag. I get it. But I also think that's like the attitude that you should have. Like, if you're coming to win, you have to compete against every single person in that house, regardless if it's in a final or if it's in an elimination or just a regular challenge. Like, you have to be every single person. So for her to be like, I don't care. I love that energy. I hate people who are like, give me the weakest person, like the person I think which is weak, who's the weakest, which is the point that I mentioned earlier about like people underestimating other people. I just love that energy of being like, give me who you want. Like, who cares? If I leave, but I gave my all and you're not going to try to manipulate what I'm going to say. I think the new challenge, a lot of the time you ask someone, who do you want? And then they manipulate it and they use it against you. And so I was kind of refreshed. I was like, yes, girl. give us nothing, but in the best way. Like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially how we saw this the different perspective was taken. We can get into it later. That I agree with you that it almost seems like giving no information could be the best way to get what you want, because when you do give like honest information, it seems to get used against you.
Absolutely.
So
I think it would have been a crazy move if she was like, put in Kayla, because that's Sylvia's number one, just to stir it up. Because like Sylvia,
that would be funny.
Imagine the look on her face if like Cynthia would have said Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm team
But
good.
The second most shocking thing to happen, I will get to the first. I will make sure to bring it up. First most shocking thing to happen in these 2 episodes, that would have been second for me still. Even, and that would have been good, but I think this was still better. All right, so after the jungle party, we get the authority meeting, and MJ brings up like, hey, you know, might not be a bad idea to take a shot at Jordan, to which I thought Wes would be the one saying that.
I was shocked, honestly. I was like, the thing is that Jordan has no relationships, so I understand kind of like, well, like relationships with this cast specifically. Mm-hmm. He has a few, but even at that, I don't think they're that strong in comparison to everyone else. And so I was like, why are you saying that? Is it because you're safe? Like, why Wes? Like, to me, like the math was not mathing into like why he would just throw his name out. Like, we expect it from Wes. It was shocking to hear it from MJ. But I think the fact that it didn't actually happen overall is what like confused me, because I'm like, you know, Wes was kind of talking shit about Jordan before. He's like, well, Jordan's kind of a good player. When I say talking shit, I mean like, you know, like in the confessionals, just saying like, you know, Jordan's good at the game. So I know that really surprised me. And so the fact that that was mentioned and it didn't actually end up that way was like very like, what? Like, how does this make sense? How do you feel about Jason?
I had the same reaction. I was really impressed that MJ said Jordan's name. I think it could have been the most strategic decision he's made in his 2-season arc on All Stars. And I think maybe Wes and Jordan have some backdoor deal where they said, like, we won't say each other's name, or we're going to wait. We want to run the final together or something, because like MJ was giving Jordan to Wes on a silver platter. How I was just so shocked. But I think it was also maybe Yes's influence, because he said, I want to run a final with him. And I was just like, yes. Have you seen the show? Jordan wins. He is so good in the final. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the chance to take him out. And I think they're probably going to regret it later on in the season.
I think what was interesting though was Wes being like, you know, it's not a bad idea. However, Wes knows that he's a target. Like, Jordan is a target because he's a beast. Like, people know that it's going to be tough to beat Jordan. So I can see him getting thrown over and over again, right? But Wes, if he's going to make people angry, like, he already comes in with the social target on his back. Everyone knows that he's up to no good. And so I think if he's out there putting someone like Jordan in immediately, like, he is only making that target bigger. And so I actually thought it was kind of smart by Wes to be like, well, if we just go like who came in second to last, then it's logical reasoning. No one can really get mad at us if they come back because we're doing the same thing for both. So I thought that, like, if Wes went big the first time he had power, Wes is fighting an uphill battle for the rest of the game, more so than he already is, where I think this kind of shows like, look, I had the opportunity, but I didn't do it. I respect the game. I respect you, like, and kind of averted the situation. And I thought that was smart by him. Like, I would understand entirely throwing Jordan in until he gets eliminated. There's going to come something where someone's going to beat Jordan if you keep throwing him in. And I think that's really your only chance to beat him. But I did think it was smart by Wes to like not make the target more enlarged than it already is.
I will say that Jordan did mention in his confessional, he said, you know, honestly, and I think this is like kind of like the juxtaposition between like the authority, but he had said something along the lines of like, I actually would want to work with Wes this season. And so I just don't know if that conversation has already happened or it hasn't yet. But they're like, to me, it's like to see what like this conversation versus what happens later on, it's like I don't actually know where like Jordan and Wes actually stand, and it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a little bit confusing. I don't know if it'll be a revealed like during War of the Worlds where we find out, oh my god, Wes and Johnny Bananas have been working together this whole time. I don't know. It could be one of those moments. Except this time it's Wes and Jordan. But I don't know. It's a little bit confusing. But overall, I do think it was smarter for Wes's game to not put Jordan in, because if Jordan goes home, you're next, bud. So it would serve no purpose.
And I was also surprised, putting the spotlight on a different authority member, that Veronica, even though she said she doesn't want to stick her neck out there, she said two people's names who she is working with. We saw earlier, Tyler says, like, we're together. We saw in the opening seconds of this show, her and Tina walked in together. They've been friends for 20 years. And I just thought she would at least try to defend them and try to put the target on someone else, because she could have lost her two closest allies in the first episode. And that does not set you up to go to the final throughout the season. But even though Tina came back, but still.
I have a question. Do you think that Veronica views herself in a similar light to how Wes views himself? Because Veronica is the only 3-time women's champ. She has the reputation being good at the challenges. I mean, given in the ones that she, like the flagship ones that she's shown up on in the last couple of times, like she hasn't done anything impressive, but she, against people who are more her age, maybe like as not of good a shape as she like is coming into it. Like I just remember like CT being like, please just go for a run, like yelling at her. So
that was terrible.
I wonder if she kind of views herself in a similar light of like she has a target on her back too. And so if it means kind of like not putting herself out there for Tina, it keeps her a little bit more in the shadows than if she were to be like, no, absolutely not, then it's like very open. Okay, Veronica's not doing this. And it gives another reason to try and like go after her, because then you're separating a duo. I just wonder. I'm not saying that's 100% true, but I could also see it being true.
I buy that.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Veronica kind of has always carried herself. At least I haven't watched Veronica technically in her prime. So I just know like when she first showed up during just like the regular challenge, and I was like, okay, like she has a reputation, she has a legacy. Like she gets in fights or whatever, but usually the way it's explained is that she kind of always gets her way. And so because I've never really seen it in action, to me it's like I can just see like what I get. And so I think she carries herself in a way that she thinks, like, not to say that she's not, but like she thinks she's hot shit. And I don't know how entirely true it is, because I'm like, well, as much as it is important to not put a target on yourself, if you already have that supposed reputation, regardless of what you do, you're still going to have a target on your back. So you might as well stick up for your allies, because at the end of the day, like, no one in this house is stupid. Like, people know who people are working with. And so if you just outwardly said you were working with Tina, no one would be surprised. And then there's a conversation later on where the people still hear that. So I just feel like there was no harm in her, like, just being like, I'm not letting Tina go in, or I'm not letting Tina go in because that's my girl.
Yeah.
Like, no one would have like done anything, wouldn't have shook the tables. If Tina still would have went in, at least it was like she still fought for her friend, versus like the reaction we ended up getting from her. And so I don't know. I just feel like I just didn't understand that strategic reason, because everyone kind of knows everyone's like friends. Like, I can tell you who Nehemiah is friends with. I can tell you who Jamie is friends with. So why are we trying to act like those things don't exist? Just because you have a friend with one person doesn't mean you can't be someone else's ally. I don't know. The reasoning just made no sense to me.
In Veronica's defense, she was a beast in her prime. She was so good.
I believe you.
Like she was one of those people we were talking about that can like back up. She got her way because she was so good. Yeah, in her prime, like I remember watching some of her seasons more recently, like years ago. I watched as many seasons of the challenge as I could, and like rewatch them. And I remember just being like, oh shit, like I was surprised by how good Veronica was, because I wasn't expecting it. But I also think she kind of gets to hide behind the fact that the last 2 times she was on, she wasn't that good. So it's kind of like she's not coming in just having won a challenge where like Wes won was it War of the Worlds or whatever it was, the desert one.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in that as well. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting that she didn't put herself out there for Tina, and we get a little bit of that after the authority. So Tina says she's happy Veronica took the first shot because now she can do it back and not feel bad about it. I know we said that like Tina's one of the people we were happy coming back. I was so thrilled with her in season 2, and then I was so mad at her in the way she left, where she just like stood there and was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I get she said she was looking out for like mental health and stuff, and so I was so like afraid with her going in that we were going to get that again. And like not to go too far forward, but Tina actually competes this time, and I'm glad we're getting more of her. But yeah, Tina's like pumped. She's like, hell yeah, Veronica took the first shot. Like, let's go. Do you think that's some foreshadowing? Do you think Tina's going to end up sniping Veronica?
There's no way Tina's going to finish in the top 3 in any challenge unless there's only 3 people left. I love her. She has been the worst competitor in the first 2 episodes. And it hurts me to say this because I love Tina, but she is just not cut out for these challenges unless they completely. Maybe she can win trivia. Mm-hmm. That is the one she can win. But other than that, I don't think she has any chance, unfortunately.
She didn't do that bad in season 2.
No, she didn't. But she's just, I mean, drawing dead in these challenges.
It's so funny because both me and Jason are like, yeah, for sure. Like, no, she's not going to do that. And Jason's like, well, that's because she'll never be in the top 3. How about that? And I was not going in that thought process at all. Like, literally, I will have to rewind and look at my reaction when Jason was like, she low-key sucks. And I was like, oh.
And I love her, which is it's so hard for me to say. But, like, I watch the show just like y'all do. Like, come on.
And that's totally fair. Honestly, like, your assessment isn't wrong. Okay. I just was not expecting that direction. I mean, for me, it's just like, I feel like Tina has already not to get too much into like episode 2, but like we've seen Tina advocate for her friend. She said, don't put Veronica in, don't put Melinda in. So it's like, obviously, like, to me, she's already advocating for her friends. I would see later down in the line, but that's not because she's purposely going to snipe Veronica. It's probably because it's down the line versus like if Tina was in the top 3 in episode 2, she would not put Veronica in. And so I don't know. That comment is very interesting, and I want to see if the seeds that they just planted with that confessional will actually grow into fruition, into something actually deeper. But as of right now, like Jason said, I don't see her really winning competitions anytime soon. And also, I don't think it's like really in her nature to do that, really. I think she's just funny in confessionals and she's like taking it like lightly. And so she's saying, well, I can take the next shot if I want to. But I don't think she really wants to back up that initial, I guess, thought.
And to get off of the show and into the Twitter streets in the last week, I will say, if Johnny Bananas was on this season, Tina would get in that authority and say his name before anyone else.
Oh,
just saying. Deleted tweets.
I did see that on Reddit.
Oh, hold on. Now I have to give me the 411. For the people who don't know, like me, you have to give me the 411.
She was just tweeting a lot of stuff, shit talk about Bananas in the last week. And apparently MTV, Boone and Murray made her delete the tweets.
Yeah. Well, she was implying how Johnny Bananas got his name. And it seems like it is for an inappropriate reason. And
the banana.
So she was calling that out. And she then tweeted like, Boone and Murray kind of like mediated the situation so that she took the tweets down. But yeah, Tina's not a Johnny Bananas fan. We learned that.
And then she was hanging out with Morgan, posting pictures together, which is, famously Bananas' ex.
Yeah.
Winner of BPOTT.
That is so funny. Okay, now I know to look out for that.
Yeah, it's definitely still on the challenge subreddit if you're looking to go see all those.
If y'all see me on the subreddit, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
before we get to our first arena, I think it's worth mentioning that Tyler was like really hurt by being voted in, and that makes me sad because Tyler is fun, and one of the points he made was in terms of like lobbying for himself to not go in was like, who do you want to hang out with while you're here? Like, who is fun? Who's going to bring good energy to you? And like, that was his like stance on it. And he still got put in. Like, a lot of the people in the authority were people who were in his room, and rooms kind of like tend to determine alliances. We saw it last season with like the King's Palace, and we're going to see it this season with the Treehouse. Yeah, when Jason's like dancing right now, if you're listening to this, save the palace, save the palace. Like, when I was watching it last week, I was like, damn, it sucks that we didn't get to podcast about this because this was so much fun. But
and I felt bad for Tyler because he even said to MJ, like, I'm going to play the game differently now when I approach you. And like, they were working together, you know, they were roommates. And I think Tyler's really good at this game. He's won, but he, you know, what were you going to say, Josiane?
No, I just laughed at the fact that you said, and they were roommates. I was just thinking about the Vine, and they were roommates. Anyways, I don't know. I think Tyler's play, like, not to say this in a mean way, but it was stupid to me. I'm sorry. This is the challenge. Who cares? At the end of the day, you guys are all probably gonna drink tequila, whiskey, whatever your vibe is. Maybe even both, maybe even a beer, who knows? And have fun at the end of the day, regardless. So, like, as much as I feel like people are less like so like money focused, like that plea to me is so stupid. Like, if Tyler came out to me and gave me that plea, I'd look him dead in the face and say, please try again. Like, there's no way that I would advocate for you because you think I want to have fun. But that's just like me. I don't know. And I think it was kind of ridiculous of him to, I don't know. I think it was kind of, not say entitled, but like, for lack of a better word, entitled. For him to be like, don't put me up because I'm a good time. Like, Tyler, you never know what will happen in the challenge. You never know. Yes, it's an individual challenge, but you never know when you're going to be partnered up with someone. So if your plea to me is, I'm going to have fun, there is no competition, no challenge where the theme or the competition is about having fun, or else a lot of people would be here and a lot of different people would not. So I'm just saying, like, it just didn't make any sense to me. I think it was stupid for him to play about allyship, play about the fact that you will never say her name. Give me something.
Say someone else's name. This person is gunning for you.
Yes, make something up.
Yeah.
You know, last time I saw Tyler, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the same season as Sylvia. And Kayla was also in that season. And like, anyways, there was just like a bunch of them, and like Tyler got into it with Davon. So I'm like, where's this energy? Like, I know.
Oh, that wasn't Tyler. That's Shane.
Oh,
yeah,
we're anti-Shane here. Oop. Well, yeah, sorry, but
he will not be on All Stars.
Yeah, thank goodness, God. Anyways, but I don't know. I'm like, Tyler, give me something. Like, this is not the challenge best friends. Like, this is All Stars. Give me an All Stars behavior, and just because you're fun, you guys can have fun outside of the house any other day. You have a whole week.
And it's crazy because I remember Tyler back in the day when he was winning challenges. He was a cutthroat player.
Yes, isn't he like a 2-time champ?
Yeah.
Come on, Tyler, give me something. This is not the attitude we should be having. For a 2-time champ, use that as leverage. Not a lot of people in this house can say that, okay?
Exactly.
So give me something. I don't know. Like,
did you think he had a chance to win the challenge?
No. I don't think he had a chance. I don't think he has a challenge, like a chance to like win overall, but like that's just me. Like, at the end of the day, I think that Tyler is kind of just here for a fun time, and that's kind of what he said from the start. And so already, if you don't have the mindset of like, I'm not saying that you have to have the mindset to like win it all and it's all about the money, but if your mindset is, I'm just here to have fun, you know, go to a Real World Homecoming season. I don't know. It's just
easy on the Real World Homecoming slander. Those podcasts are bringing us in great numbers. Thank you.
No, I don't get.
And it's intense.
Listed.
It's such a good season. It's such a good season.
But like, also for Tyler, he's going against Cyrus. Like, Cy is a monster. I would never want to go against him in an elimination challenge. And I thought Tyler would at least have been more mentally ready and to get hyped up because Cyrus is there to win.
Yeah, just the lack of mentality. I think you never know who can actually win a challenge until you see what the challenge is, and then maybe you
Yeah.
can place your bets, whatever. But like already the fact that he was kind of out, I was just like, I can't see you winning, even if it's against anyone else, if that's your mentality. I don't know.
Yeah, I think his only chance would have been if it was like puzzle based or color based. And so
Or both.
Definitely color
yeah.
based, maybe a little bit of both.
So we get to the arena, which is what it's called this season, and they're playing a game called Crawl, which we are used to Hall Brawl, but this is like the geriatric version where they are just like crawling through this like U-shaped cage. There was a big mound of sand that had to be dug through in the middle, and then basically like you inside a bag, bring it back. There's the potential for physical contact, like knocking someone into the cage. That didn't really happen in either event. I don't have much to say about this elimination. I didn't think it was that exciting. I don't know what you guys think about it. Maybe you have a different take than me. Jason, I see you getting ready to go. Tell me about it.
So for me, the best part of this was actually not in the challenge, but what Cynthia said about it. When she said, I'm told I look pretty fit, but if you cut me open, a bunch of wine will come out. Trust me. And that is like the line of the episode.
It's so true. I agree. That was the funniest thing.
And so that's what made the elimination worth it for me.
I was disappointed. Give us a Hall Brawl or don't give it to us at all. There's nothing about this Crawl Brawl that is giving Hall Brawl. The whole purpose of Hall Brawl is to like beat each other up, like boom, like get into it. And like I just saw them like respectfully like do the sand part and then like crawl beside each other and then like try to get it, and then someone just ended up lapping the other person. Call this crawl race or something, because it was giving very like, it just reminded me like, you know, when you have two, like you have a baby and there's two parents and you're like, come here, come here, come here. That's the energy it was giving me, and it was not giving Hall Brawl energy at all. I was very disappointed. And some of the strategy being used, I don't know if it's just me, but I was watching that and I was like, I would not like move the sand at all. I'd make my other competitor do it. I would just sit there, arms locked in, waiting for my competitor to just do all the work for me, get gassed out, and then start crawling, because all that's like I guess the hardest part of it. So I don't know. I just found it really boring. I'm like, come on. I've seen some boring challenges, but this takes kind of the cake. I don't know.
I mean, I don't have anything else to say about it besides Tina wins for the women and Cyrus wins for the men.
Ding, ding, ding.
And what we find out is that they each are going to get an additional star on their jersey, which we do not know what it means. We just know there's going to be power later in the game. Any guesses so that we can return to episode 1 of TJ Hates Quitters to be like, remember when someone was right about this? Because I don't remember what I was right about in season 1 of, but Jason, I don't know if you remember, there was something that like 10 episodes later, I was like, I told you guys this in episode 2 that this would happen. And so I just want to like mark it now. I want to give you both the chance to put your guesses on the table. What do you think these stars mean? Josiane, you have any ideas?
Honestly, I don't know. Anytime they have like a number on their jersey, it's to signify how well they're doing. I don't really know what this will include because this is an individual game. So obviously it wouldn't be a sabotage because we already have sabotages. It would just be redundant. And so I think it's just like the ability to maybe control a decision. Maybe when they get down to it, like maybe deciding there is no authority and then the people with the most stars are just safe, or they get to pick two people, like whoever has the most stars picks two people to go into elimination. I don't know. I don't think it's that great in comparison to everything else we have, and that's what I think is going to be such a shame, because if they're giving us all this hype for it to be like simple and plain and boring, like what a waste. I don't know.
So my guess is going big.
Oh, okay.
Remember in that season or 2 of Survivor when they had fire tokens? And they could like trade fire tokens for an advantage in a challenge to return to the game. I think they're going to be able to use their stars to get advantages maybe in like the challenge right before the final. And then like if the top 3 go to the final or the top 5 go to the final, and if they can like trade their stars to maybe get like a minute off their time or start at a different checkpoint.
Okay.
Or maybe that takes place in the final, but I think it's going to be somehow related to like either the final or the challenge right before the final. And it gives them an advantage over the other competitors because they've survived eliminations and made it that far. But they can't give their stars to other people.
Yeah, my guess is that somewhere before, I'm going to say anywhere between like final 5, final 6, each of women and men left, that it's going to be something like, okay, the 2 people with the most stars, it's either going to be like your auto in the final, or you're going to have the 2 people, like, I guess they become the only authority on, like the authority doesn't win that time, whoever the top 3 are, whatever, because there won't be enough to have a top 3, I guess. And so, the people with the most stars are going to be the 2 people who make the decision for who goes in to that elimination. Like, even if they didn't win the challenge that time. So like, even if you come in, or maybe if you come in first for that challenge, like you're safe, but everyone else is on the table and it's just the decision of the men and women with the most stars. Those are my 2 guesses. I don't know if I'm allowed to have 2, but I'm making the rules, and yes, I am. So
I will say that I think we're on both the same page, but the reason why I don't think the stars are going to be that big is because of what happens at the end of season 2, like not season 2, goodness gracious, episode 2, because someone just kind of gets handed a star, and to me it's like, if it was that big, if it had that much importance, would that person have gotten the star to begin with?
But that also happened with the skulls. Like some people were given skulls because the other person couldn't compete, right?
Yeah, but then the skulls was just like, okay, well, you can run my final. So again, it wasn't like anything crazy.
Yeah.
Like if the skulls was like, the more skulls you have, the more like you can advance easier in the final, then everyone would throw themselves in. But like, I don't think that's the premise, especially with like how easy they just gave the star to the person who will be mentioned later. I'm not jumping ahead.
All right, so that was the end of episode 1. Let's get straight into episode 2. So as usual, it starts with them returning to the house after the challenge or the arena, and we get Tina, who's all pumped up and is like, I think the girls are gonna leave me alone. Like, don't fuck with me and I won't fuck with you. Like, she thinks she's kind of laid it out there, like, look, I've done my elimination, put other people in, don't come around these streets, you don't want this smoke. And then I love Cyrus, who's just like, I'm no old ass layup. So I love the reactions. But more importantly, after that, we get some talk about what's going to happen with the sabotage, because that's like the next big game move that needs to happen. We don't know what it is, but more importantly, again, especially because Wes has it, it's like, what is Mastermind Wesley going to do?
And this is when I want to comment on the conversation that he had with Kansas City local Sylvia and Kayla and Jemmy.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see Wes working with those 3 strong women. And I think if like that's who he's working with, that 4 could go far.
Agreed.
Maybe all 4 of them make the final. Because I would not associate Jemmy with working with Wes.
Yeah, they are like oil and water, in my opinion.
I do see why they would probably gravitate towards each other. While I understand that Wes has a long-term history, Jemmy also has some history now with these people because she was on All Stars like the first season. I do see why they would gravitate towards each other because like they're kind of like the newer people. I guess they're the closest to the new generation of what the challenge is, and they've also I think they've interacted probably the most, and so it would make more sense for each other, like for them to gravitate towards each other, especially since the cast that we have now with All Stars, they've kind of some of them have done at least 2 seasons at this point, and so they have even more history, even more connections. So it feels like a little bit like the band of misfits who haven't been in the first few seasons, kind of just coming together. And then I think Jemmy just fucks with Sylvia and like likes the newer generation as well. I associate her more with the newer generation of the challenge than I do the old one. I don't know if that's just me, but I remember seeing a lot of seasons with Jemmy I know that she was like on Twitter in the drama of seasons,
Oh, yeah.
even when she wasn't even in those seasons. And so I don't know. It kind of made sense that they were at the table, but to see it together like that, I was like, I like that. I thought that they could probably work together. So to see them sit at a table and have those discussions, I was like, interesting. And I was kind of hoping, or like not hoping, but I was kind of assuming that the next person they would bring in, at least for a guy, would be Jordan, because it kind of fits that, like, I guess that group's vibe. Oh my god, I've used the word vibe.
Well, I even think it could be yes, because we hear later on that him and Jemmye have a great relationship. He's a monster, and if Wes wants to go with people that can bring it, like, yes, I don't know. I see the two of them working together. Sorry, a bug just flew into my apartment, so if I keep looking away, it's like crazy distracting me.
So here's my thought on this group. Wes knows that Sylvia and Kayla are likely to be in power a lot. They are going to win challenges. So if he can surround himself, it doesn't have to be by men who can protect him. Like, Wes kind of got his name saved by Brad in this upcoming one. Not to get ahead, I kind of thought it was episode 1 as I was saying it out loud and realized it was episode 2. Wes was in the Authority, my bad. So spoiler alert, but right now, the way that it's set up, Wes doesn't need men to protect him only. Like, if he has women who are in the Authority and are willing to save him as well, like, then he still has some power and some protection. And so I think it's so smart by Wes to surround himself. He has the ties with Melinda, who's a strong competitor. He has Nehemiah, who's a strong competitor. He has obviously Brad on his side, which we learned about, strong competitor. He has Sylvia. He has Kayla. Like, these are people that if he's not winning, they're likely winning. And so they can help keep him around. So I like this group. Jemmye, to me, is actually like kind of the oddball out in all of this because
I agree.
I don't know if this is going to be like a popular opinion, but I kind of don't like Jemmye's like approach to these games. And maybe it kind of conflates with her personality, where she just like talks so much shit, but it's like, Jemmye, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, so she doesn't back it up at all.
Yeah, that, like, to me, she kind of seems like the odd one out, but at the same time, she is good socially, she can be good politically, and she will stand up for the people that she's loyal to. And so that's someone for Wes to have on his side who, like, he doesn't need to be the one running his mouth. Kayla will, Jemmye will, like, I think it's great for these women to band together because they can protect themselves, but also it's smart for Wes to get in there too, because then he has people looking out for him.
I think I'm just going to show this comment. Josh says, Wes is doing the let's band the rookies together. Even the rookies saw all-stars apply here. And I think that's very true. I think, honestly, just Jemmye is good socially. And so because she's good socially, she kind of fits anywhere and everywhere, which is something I realized in the first season, because I was like, how is she getting along with all these people? I was like, what? Okay. Hey, girl, get your social capital, I guess. And so, like, I can see why she'd be the odd person out, but I'm not surprised that she would be located, at least in that conversation, because of who she is as a player, which is a lot of like the social and the political side of the challenge, which is a component. I don't think it's the biggest one, but it is. And so, yeah, for sure. I don't think that Wes needs any of the men. I guess like the rookies is the term I'm going to use for the all-star ladies. But I will say that they don't have social capital so far. So it's easy to be like, oh, they might win. But if it's 4 against 2 defending Wes is going in. And so he still has to kind of spread himself out. But as you mentioned, he has Nehemiah and then Melinda and then
while we're talking about it, like, does he have Nehemiah? Like, where is Nehemiah's loyalty? Is it to Wes or is it to LT and Cyrus? Because we know they're friends in real life also. And Nehemiah and Wes have been friends longer, but we don't know the depth and strength of their friendship, because we've seen Nehemiah and Laterrian the last couple seasons. Like, they're friends in real life, and they're super tight. So I just wonder, when Nehemiah is in power, who he's going to choose to save.
This is interesting. That's honestly a good thought to have, like, moving forward. Like, hopefully we get to see it soon, where it's like, or like not soon, but a little bit further down the line, where it's a little bit more critical. And so that reveals a lot about his cards. But yeah, very good points from both of you.
I also don't think that, like, I don't know if Wes is putting as much stock in Nehemiah as it maybe was alluded to, because he made a very critical comment here that I think is important, which is when Sylvia said, I was thinking of using the sabotage on Kendall and Kellyanne, and Wes goes, well, if we pick up those two other girls and bring them in with us, we can start picking off other women. So again, like, is Wes trying to surround himself by powerful women, and then like any of the men who want to defend him, that's just like gravy, that I think that Wes is trying to really put stock in the women defending him. And if Nehemiah, because the thing is, there's a very good chance that Wes watched season 2 and he saw that Brad and Nehemiah, who are best friends in real life, not be on the same side. And so he like, Wes isn't dumb. If he saw that, if Nehemiah is going to do it to Brad, will he do it to Wes? Where I think that that's like a possibility, I guess, that like he has a bit more confidence that if he integrates himself with these women, that they're more likely to protect him and be on the same side as him than Nehemiah.
So you think it's based off loyalty rather than like anything else, like regardless of like friendship or whatever, because they're probably more likely to be, because honestly those two like women have had a history of being very loyal. So that could also be more of a thought process than like friendship. And so I could see that point if he was looking from a more like loyalty aspect, which is why I kind of want more confessionals where people just explain to me what they're thinking, because I want to understand.
I mean, if you think back to it, when's the last time you can think of Wes screwing over an ally? He doesn't. But he will manipulate the shit out of people to get who he wants in the eliminations and avoid it himself. Or if he does have to go in, like manipulating so he gets who he wants in there, he really doesn't turn on allies. He plays a loyal game to them, but it's the people that are like, they think they're okay with him, where they're not sure where they stand. That's who Wes wins over, and Wes uses to their advantage, because it's like, oh yeah, this does make sense for me in the moment, and then he'll turn on him. But like the people that he's like legit looking out for, I can't think of a single time where he's done something dirty like that. He's not a dirty player. He is a manipulative player to the people who he does not see, that like view him as their number one as well. Like he'll protect his inner circle. So
and Kari, I think you made a really good point earlier talking about Kendall and Kellyanne, and I think they could be the people in the middle, the X factor. Also with Derek, which side are they going to go with? Is it Wes and Sylvia, Kayla and Jemmye, or is it the reigning champs with John A, MJ, and also Veronica? Because we heard Veronica say her and Yes are Road Rules OG friends. And I think the house is already, we're seeing this split, and there's a couple people floating in the middle, and whichever side they gravitate towards is going to have the power, I think, to run the game. And I hope it's the reigning champs. I'm here for them. I don't want to see Wes, Sylvia, or Kayla win. I like them, but I don't want to see them win.
I think we'll see later on that Kellyanne specifically will lean towards a specific side because of what happens with the sabotage. Which I guess we can talk about. I'll let you take the lead, Kari. You know what to do.
Oh, well, thank you, Josiane. You are so kind.
I will gladly pass this virtual mic to you.
Before we get into the challenge and figuring out who's going to be the recipient of these sabotages, there's a couple of things that came up that was a little bit of foreshadowing. Also, like, I do like when we get to see a little bit behind the scenes for these people, because at this point we've watched them for 20 years as well. So like knowing that they've got stuff going on at home, like Mark gets on FaceTime with his mom who has stage 4 cancer, and that phone call, and how he's like, she's the most important person in my life. Like, I fight for her. I fight with her. She fights with me. Like, especially because like Mark Long is the reason the show is happening. Without Mark
Yeah.
Long, we do not have this. Mark Long was the one that rallied the troops. I think he used Derek especially, not used, but like involved Derek a lot, like used their resources to reach out to all these people. I'm mad that he still hasn't gotten Emily Schramm back on my TV, especially when Emily Schramm said she would only do a challenge when Mark Long does a challenge again. But sorry, that's a little tangent, but like, I don't know, to see like, because he didn't even do season 2, which was kind of shocking to me. So like just to see the person who is like the reason that we get to enjoy this, like calling home and being away from his mom at such a vulnerable time, like, you know, the sentimental feels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Melinda letting us know that her ankle's kind of fucked up from the last one.
And did y'all hear what Tina said when Melinda talked about that?
When she
Tina's
talked,
like, girl, you getting old. And just said it so quick to her.
She
And I was
said,
like, Tina, you're older than her.
and she was like, stop wearing those heels. I was like,
Yeah.
so true. Give it to us. Give us the tea.
She's like,
So
hopefully
funny.
the next challenge is whittling a cane for you.
Honestly, I've been living for Tina. Like, so, like, side note, I guess she's been making me laugh the entire time. Like, I feel like it's been a while since I've just like cackled watching
She's
like the
great.
challenge, and I feel like so far the last 2 episodes, there's just been like nuggets of gold a little bit everywhere. I think a lot of it comes from Tina, but like even a lot of the cast members is just making me laugh. So I don't know, it's just bringing me joy.
Oh, she killed me on season 2 as well. Like I was so sad when she left because, and she didn't even try because like, no, I'm losing Tina's commentary. Her commentary is so good. She's so funny. So after these little interactions, we get to the challenge, and this is called Out of Reach. So the premise of this is there's going to be 2 heats of men, 2 heats of women, and they're on these swings about 20 feet in the air, and they have to swing like they're on a swing set back and forth until they get high enough where they can kick this box that holds their puzzle pieces. And they kick the box so that the puzzle pieces fall into the water. Once they do that, they get released from the swing. They go get their puzzle pieces, go to shore, put this star-shaped puzzle together, maybe like 8 to 10 pieces, somewhere around there. Not a ton of pieces, 3-dimensional puzzle. So naturally, we get LT and Darrell's commentary on heights that they are so afraid of them. And like, I have heard Darrell at this point in my life, I don't know, 10 plus times, 12 plus times, explain his fear for heights, and I can still listen to him.
I was gonna say one thing about Darrell. He's gonna let us know he's afraid of heights every time. I'm like, all right, Darrell, give it to me. What type of explanation, or how are you going to curate your explanation for this fear that I know that you have? It's like at that point when like it kind of reminds me of like Leroy being like, I can't swim, like I just like we kind of always knew it, but this time he kind of gave us a background story about a roller coaster, and this was new information to me, and so I absorbed it like a sponge, and I was like, I now understand your trauma. I will still 100% stand by you, even with this fear of heights. Thank you for your services. Thank you.
I did appreciate how LT has explained that he's gotten a little better with it each season. And I do want to take this time to say that I think in the first season with LT, it was kind of like he was very dry. And I understood why he was there because, like, he's this big ass dude who's intimidating. But he has become such a fun character that
Definitely.
I am so happy that I've seen him all 3 seasons, and for however many challenge all-stars there are, I hope he has the auto invite. Like he's fun, like, because he is a hard ass, but he has like a good heart, and you can tell that he's becoming more and more comfortable with it. Like him dancing around last season during the Save the Palace dances and stuff and everything, and just like loosening up, and you can tell he's like formed these genuine friendships, and he's talking about how he wants to become a single dad if he wins the money. Like I am team LT. I know the first season I was like kind of on him, but having seen him these 3 seasons, like, LT, you better be on season 4, season 10, season 20, like, whatever, how many all-stars there are, LT is my permanent all-star. Just had to put that out there. So, Oh, go ahead.
No, I was
I'll
just
take
gonna
any
say
more commentary.
LT like was another person aside from Tina who's just also just been making me laugh with like confessionals. Like Tina, it's like funny, clever, or like she's just person. Sometimes I'm like LT is just saying the dumbest things, but it's just so funny. And so yeah, no, I love that they talk about their fears in such a funny way. Whereas like in the past, I feel like it's been like people on the verge of tears, and I'm like, oh my god, like do you not know
Yeah.
what show you're signing up for when you decided to come here?
All in the explanation of this challenge, it made me so thankful that Katie wasn't back.
Right?
I'm sorry. Like, Katie, you do
Mhm.
not bring anything to the challenge for me when you freak out about heights. Like, what do you think? Have you not watched any recent seasons? Like, 75% of the shit is done 20 feet above the water.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they just do on the challenge now. So I actually, like, this was the first time I noticed. I'm like, oh yeah, Katie's not back, because right now she'd be having some sort of freak out
About the
that
eye, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we get the use of the sabotage before obviously the challenge happens, because these people are playing sabotage for the challenge. So they asked Sylvia, TJ asked Sylvia first, and I thought Sylvia was funny when she was like, "Can Wes go first? Like, do I have to, please?" And so she said her reasoning for using it on Kellyanne was that Kellyanne came in second place. Clearly, Sylvia does not know much about Kellyanne, because Kellyanne has never been able to do a puzzle in her goddamn life.
Still can't.
Yeah, still tracks.
Bless her heart.
Sylvia, I hope you like took notes, at least on what you saw here.
But I just love Kellyanne's approach to doing puzzles, because she gets so flustered. She cracks under pressure. And as like Jemmy said, the last thing you want to do is be next to little hissy fit Kellyanne.
Mm-hmm. She's
I
like,
don't,
"Oh, the great equalizer! Like, fuck this shit!" Rah, rah, rah.
and I honestly, and this is back to the point that we were talking about, like Wes talking about bringing people in. I thought it was so confusing that she used a sabotage on Kellyanne when that was the
Totally.
conversation being had. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if this is just me, but Kellyanne kind of can get petty. So like
Big time.
so like I don't know why that was the choice. I feel like Wes should have been at least giving Sylvia the tea on what the heck's going on, like who not to do this with. If this is the challenge, don't do this. I don't know, but yeah, it was just I was like, okay, well now you've gotten her out as an ally, and she's probably gonna go after you now. Like she's not gonna forget the fact that you made her wait a minute for her to just go through trauma that she didn't need that extra minute for. And so I was like, this is a choice.
But I do think, even though it's a little bit farther ahead, I think Wes was the one that brought the dog over to her when they were at the bar. And that's what's going to bring her over to their side. As he saw she was traumatized, and he's like, oh, pet this dog. Look what we found in the street. Because where did that dog come from? Sorry to get too far ahead, but like Kellyanne, that was the first thing I'm thinking of.
All right, because I'm about to ask another dumb question, because we're in our safe space here. I saw her pet the dog, but wait, Wes didn't actually bring her the dog over, correct? Like,
No, that definitely happened.
You're lying to me right now,
I'm
Jason.
totally lying to you.
Okay.
One thing Jason's gonna do is see the details and lie.
That's the thing is,
but it's such a detail it could be believable.
Notice this shit.
Absolutely.
And Wes is that type of player. He would totally do that and be like, see. And even if he didn't, he'd be like, Kellyanne was drinking. He could pretend to say that the next day. Well, I did mention that dog, and you were so much happier. Don't you want to work with me?
Jason is the Wes of this podcast. He's like taking the little shit and turning it on us. He's gotten us both at this point, Josiane. We're being manipulated.
I'm telling you, I'm feeling like the rookie of this podcast for real.
That's why Jason's trying to bring you in.
He's like,
the rookies.
Or the rookies.
All right.
So something else I love in this challenge is when my favorite Josiane says, she's not the kind of mom that just pushes her kids in the swings. She sits right beside them and swings also. And that's what helped her do so well.
I was like, okay, mommy rights. Come on now. Advocate for it. She's like, I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. And you know what? These regular moms just push kids. I don't push kids. I make my kids push me.
And I do just got to say, though, I love on Challenge All-Stars that we have moms on the cast because very rarely, and I might be, wrong because there are some moms on regular Challenge, but very, very few.
Pregnant
they end up being pregnant, yeah.
And then they find out that they're moms.
Exactly. And I just love that All-Stars has these women and men also that are parents and talking about their kids. And like, we just don't hear that story on regular Challenge. And so it's really refreshing to me.
Well, we need to bring it back to my boy Wes for a second. Before we get too much into Mom's Rights 2K22 as our vote.
Moms rule the world.
It's not us use a sabotage. Do that yet. We've only talked about Sylvia so far. And so I mean, that Wes is going to present this in a fun way. And Wes is like, in honor of National Best Friends Day, I'm going to use this on Jordan. He's been kicking our asses for a decade, to which MTV/Paramount Plus cuts to a montage of them getting their asses kicked by Jordan for the last decade. That Wes says is still my biggest threat. No surprise here.
I'm just confused because, like, have they not had a conversation in the house about where they stand? I feel like I've kind of always seen that, like, those like little clips, usually like in the premiere of an episode where like two head honchos have that chat about, so this season are you gonna screw me? Like we didn't get that with them, and so like Jordan saying that he wants to work with Wes, and then Jordan not being sent in the first episode. I'm like, okay, maybe they are working together. And then Wes is like, haha, psych, let me put the sabotage on you. And so I was like, this is so interesting. Like, if Jordan now wins with the sabotage, is Wes automatically going in? Like, I don't understand what the dynamics between the two are. And so I'm like, I don't know if it's the Johnny Wes like setup, but it's kind of confusing to me as a viewer, because I'm like, where are your loyalties with this man? But I love that Jordan was like, he is setting me up for greatness. He's turning down the light. He's putting the spotlight on me. And now it's my time to shine. And I thought that was such a good way to take it. Like, I was like, okay, you're going to make me laugh. Okay,
And Jordan did so well, and even with a sabotage. And I just hope this shows everyone else, next time he's not in the authority, they have got to put him in. Because he can win while being sabotaged, like, or at least not win, but finish in the top.
So I had like a different perspective on how well Jordan did despite being sabotaged. To me, that sabotage didn't seem like it had too much of an effect. Like,
no,
we saw that he still won his heat, right? He didn't end up winning overall. Yes, did it faster, right? But still, 60 seconds, like in certain, I don't know, are these sabotages going to be so monumental that's even worth getting mad about? Because, like, yes, there's they sabotage me, but like, no matter what, Kellyanne is still going to finish in last with that puzzle, whether she has a 5-minute advantage or like the sabotage against her. That I'm just interested to see. I just thought that this was like a very low level sabotage, and I'm wondering if they're going to pick up in intensity as the season goes on, or is it just Jordan's that good at shit?
I think that the sabotage did affect him, because I think he would have gotten first place if it wasn't for that minute. Because honestly, that minute allowed for the other competitors who are around him to like start their puzzle. If Jordan didn't have that sabotage, he would have had that puzzle done, and I think he would have been in first place, and he would have had the sabotage that he could have easily given to Wes. So while I do think that it wasn't the worst sabotage that could have happened in this scenario, it could have been like, you have to swing two different sides and knock boxes out. I don't know. I'm not a challenge producer, but it's like, I do think it did have an effect. I think that the 1 minute effect, like that 1 minute consequence for the woman, could have also had an effect. It's just that Sylvia doesn't know her cast members as much as she should, and so her sabotage was a waste because she didn't think about it strategically. Do I think it would have been effective if she would have used it on anyone else? Probably, because I think the biggest struggle was the swings. But once you're off the swings, it's the puzzle, and that puzzle isn't as difficult as I think the swings were. And so to make that I think it was like Heat 2 with the women, where all of the women pretty much dropped at the same time. Like, that 1 minute makes an impact. I just think it wasn't like done methodically or strategically as much as Sylvia wanted to, and I think she also burned an ally, which was a conversation prior. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that smart.
Or is Sylvia just like a super genius and actually knows that Kellyanne sucks at puzzles, so it doesn't matter if she has the 1 minute disadvantage?
She burned the sabotage.
Yeah, did she actually just burn the sabotage there? I didn't think of that until just now.
I think you're giving her credit.
She's a super genius, 100%.
I think y'all are
super genius.
Y'all are kind people and giving credit where credit is not actually merited. But you know what? I'll smile and nod, even though deep down I'm like, no.
No way.
I'm like, no, she definitely did not think this way. But sure, let's call her a super genius.
I'm not rolling it out.
Well, speaking of being a super genius, that was a big part of Tina. You know, she said that this was her strategy all along. She gets better with age. She's like fine wine.
All right, let's quickly get into this challenge because we've gotten little bits and pieces of it already. So we have in the first heat, it's a men's heat, and Derek is the first one to kick off the puzzle pieces. Jordan is second. We find out in this moment that it's a 60-second delay on getting to start your puzzle. Yeah. And Jordan still finished first. And it was so bad for LT and Wes that like they got dropped from the swing, which is embarrassing that Wes went from like first to last real fast.
I think it was humbling. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I was like, you get this, it's like poetic, like it's like Shakespeare can have written it himself, because the way that they both happen to be on the same heat. Wes just came off first place, sabotages Jordan, and he's like, I'm about to whoop Jordan's ass. He has a sabotage, like, ha ha ha. And for him to be last, chef's kiss.
Love it.
Like it's nothing against Wes. I just feel like if it was like two other people, it would still be funny to me. It's like, you cannot make this up. Wes, are you not embarrassed? Because I'm embarrassed for you, King. I don't know. I just thought it was really funny. It did earn a big cackle from me. As I was seeing Wes struggle on the swing set.
Yeah, it definitely was good just to see that happen. But my bigger point that I want to make here is, how many seasons of the challenge does Derek have to do before he like downloads a puzzle app on his phone? How is he so continuously bad at things that require brain power? Like, he must know at this point that it's not just physical. I'll take Derek in almost any physical situation, but that's not it anymore.
He's just been practicing with Kellyanne, so he just needs a new study buddy.
I'm so done. Oh my god. And that's why I think I also have like big respect, kind of a tangent, but this is why I have big respect for CT, because he will beat your ass up not only in a hall brawl, but he will beat your ass up in a puzzle. Like,
every time.
It's crazy. That's why no one tries CT, and that's why he always makes it to the end of these challenge finals. Like he gets a, it's like a regular Tuesday for CT, like playing the challenge. Like, he comes in and he's like, no one's gonna put me in because I can beat them, and so let me just make them final and win. Like, that's what I feel like. So Derek, I don't know. I think maybe CT should be his new studying partner. I don't know. Maybe.
One of my favorite lines from the challenge ever, I don't know why this stuck in my head, probably because I love CT, is that there was a situation where there was tangram puzzle, and he's like, uh-oh, not a tanagram, it's a 9-piece. And he was just like so pumped. He's like, yeah, I do these at home with my son.
With my kid, yeah.
Yes.
The way he said it, like, uh-oh, not, and he calls it a tanagram, not tanagram.
And that was pretty recently. That was one of the last few seasons
ago.
Yeah. Just the way he said tanagram will always be stuck in my head, because there's not that A in the middle. It's just tangram. And so, yes, I all hail King CT. I know that people have their opinions, but mine will always be, he is the best TV character with the best TV arc of all time. He went from doing like cocaine on the streets of Paris to winning. That's not like an exaggeration.
No,
winning at 40.
I try to watch a season of the Real World Paris, but it's like banned. Like, there are a few hidden seasons of like Real World that you cannot find. which I think is so frustrating because I want to see CT doing cocaine.
He's like 41, still crushing challenges. I love him. I love him. All right. When we get CT on these challenges, it's over for these hoes. So next, the first women's heat. We have Josiane getting her pieces first because, as Jason told us, she's an expert at the swings.
Hashtag mommy rights.
Hashtag mommy rights 2K22. And Kellyanne gets her puzzle pieces second, which makes it even worse that like it took her a decade to finish these stars.
I think she's still working on it.
Yeah.
To this day, legend has it that she's currently in whatever location they're located.
They just left her.
Still trying to figure out what is the form of a star. I don't know what the form of a star is anymore.
She said, like, I don't even remember what puzzles look like anymore. But Jemmy was like, do I have a concussion? Like, I don't remember how to do a puzzle.
Well, I actually saw something online that Jemmy's puzzle, if you screenshot it, was not 100% put together. And they still, like, let her green, you know, go to... But, like, I think she should have come in last because she did not do it right.
I noticed that. I was like, what? Like, because she kind of goes, check. And, like, I was like, but her hands are still on the puzzle pieces.
And there was, like, a gap right in the middle.
Yeah,
that, like the pieces were not connecting.
Yeah, I was like, did she really pass the check? I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, they saw that she was doing it. Or maybe the producer was like, I'm tired of this. Like, once this ended.
It's been 3 hours.
It's like 10 hours later. And then you just see them both struggling. And Jenny's like this because she can't stand the hissy fits. Yeah.
How did you make this star into a rectangle? I'm not even mad. That's impressive. So we had, like we mentioned, Josiane finished first, Kellyanne finished last in that one. Our second men's heat, MJ is the first to kick the puzzles off, but our puzzle pieces off, but Yes finishes the heat first. And we got a little Wesley commentary about Yes, saying that Yes thinks he's smarter than the average challenger. Anyone who says he's a good guy is fooled.
Ugh.
I'm here for this upcoming rivalry 1,000%.
Me too.
I like that comment. I have a thing, and we kind of talk about nice guy syndrome in our other podcasts, but it's like also from like movie theory. The guy was like, I'm a nice guy, and who has to tell you he's a nice guy isn't so nice. And I don't think that's necessarily true about like his character, but that's also the narrative we're getting from editors. And so I'm like, he's gonna do something later on that's just gonna fuck shit up, and all of us are gonna kind of like look at him differently. Anyways, that's my conspiracy theory. Didn't mean to turn it into a conspiracy theory hour, but you're getting that from me. And so yes, that's kind of like where I'm at. But I was like, I'm here for this. I'm like the two head honch just like going at it. And that's why I'm kind of interested to see where Jordan and Wes's relationship will lie. Because I think right now the obvious enemy is in Jordan, but like really a storm's a brewing. A war is like being prepared right now. And so I'm interested to see if Jordan will go on one side or join Wes, and Wes will like put whatever they got going on to the side.
And it's interesting about Yes, because I don't know who his closest allies are. Like, he has to win.
Veronica?
He has to make moves. Yeah, Veronica, but I don't know what other guys are going to save him.
Maybe MJ? I don't know.
Maybe, because they're winners. They have that in common. But
I think
he doesn't have those bonds with everyone else. Like all the other guys do. They have multiple allies, and he's just kind of solo, like he was in his first season. And it did work. But
I think they just have respect for Yes. Like I think they just respect him, and so they kind of listen to what he has to say. But he has no social capital, and that's such a good comment, Jason. I'm now digesting that.
Well, while you digest, let's talk
Thank
about. You. Yeah, you're welcome. Don't go swimming for the next 30 minutes. You don't want to get cramps. So
I'll just pull a Tina. How about that for fun?
Yeah, just drop in.
Darrell finishes last in this heat, and he like is basically ready to go in. He's like, I'm not gonna fuck my hands up getting rope burn, knowing I'm going into the elimination.
I'm so sick of him. I was sick of him. I was like, just say you don't want to do it. He was like, the rope burn. I was like, my guy, we know you're afraid of heights. You just gave us a testimonial about your roller coaster experience. I related to your trauma. And you're going to tell me rope burns is the reason why you don't. Come on now. Don't play with me. Darrell just made me laugh. I was just like, he was like, and honestly, part of me was like, why can't you just drop in and get that 20-minute penalty? I later on find out why you can't just drop down. But I was like, yeah, okay, you don't want to do this. Just drop down. Like, just call it a day. But I now understand why he waited about the rope worms. My question for you is, do you think TJ at that moment had a little bit of hatred since TJ hates quitters?
I don't know if Darrell necessarily quit. I think that he I think he did enough like C's get degrees. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
a very good philosophy. Mm-hmm.
He passed the class. He didn't get DQ'd, but was it Darrell's best performance?
Absolutely not.
Nah.
No way.
Our next and last heat is the second women's heat. And did either of you see how Tina ended up in the position she was in? Because if I could do my best to describe it for anyone who didn't watch, which if you didn't watch, get Paramount Plus and watch this. This is fun.
Or pull a me and watch it. Oh no. A not so legal site. How about that? I'm Canadian. They don't give it to us on Paramount Plus Canada.
Josiane the pirate. Anyway, so
Arg.
She is holding on to this swing, but like her chest and head are forward and her arms are fully extended. But it's almost like she's like double jointed in her elbows or something. Like, how did you get there? How did you like hyperextend your elbows to get into this position? I just was very confused how she got there. I didn't see how it happened. It's just all of a sudden I look up from my computer typing my notes and there is Tina in the most awkward way you could ever be sitting on a swing 20 feet above the water.
Someone made a comment about like a regular swing versus like what Tina's doing. I'm not gonna say exactly what they said because it's gonna be on YouTube.com, but they said a blank swing, and I was like, goodness gracious! Like you can tell that this is on Paramount Plus and not on MTV cable TV, because I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're saying. I don't know. I really, Jason, I'm gonna turn to you because you're our details and lies guy.
Yeah.
Please, do you have any description on how the events unfolded for us to see Tina in the position that she was in?
It was her strategy.
Absolutely.
She was planning it. She knew she doesn't want people to fuck with her. She's like, if I just come in last, no one's going to say my name. And that's what she thought, I guess. I don't know. I was flabbergasted watching this, to be honest. Because like I said, I think Tina is good. And I was really disappointed, even though it was on purpose.
I'm
doing air quotes right now, on purpose.
Could she have like held on for like, I don't know how long they were supposed to be on those swings, but could she have held on? Like, I don't know, kind of pulled the Titanic
that way.
I mean, she could have like extended her arms, giving us a Titanic moment. I believe I can fly just straight.
Wow, that would have been amazing. But what if they would have played that in the background during the challenge? Like,
I can fly.
I mean, right? Yes. Like, they have great music on this show.
Which I absolutely love. That's such a side note. Like, I love that I can hear any song ever. It could be old school. It could be new school. Like, it's not that, like, weird. And, like, no shade to the artist that MTV plays. But, like, sometimes, for example, Siesta Key, like, it just kind of reminds me of Netflix music where it's a little too on the nose. Like someone will be hiking and the song's like, I'm hiking up the stairs. Oh my God. Yeah. And then like a weird DJ like beat drop. I'm so thankful that I can have some regular music on Paramount. Thank you for your service.
The music is fire on all of these. And it's because we're getting like good throwbacks.
No, I agree.
So we find out who our authority is after this because Kendall won the last heat for the women. So first of all, LT and Tina are two losers, unfortunately. They're going straight to the arena. And then TJ, I love when TJ goes off like this when he's like, I have never seen anyone shit the bed that bad in my entire life. The relationship between TJ and Tina and the banter they have is so good. It's so funny because Tina goes right back at him. She knew she couldn't in this instance, but like season 2 and this one, like the TJ Tina banter,
It's
I
great.
love it. I absolutely love it. So Yes and Kendall are our winners, and then the authority is made up of those two: Jordan, Janae, Brad, and Kayla.
And I just want to pause and ask, because like we just said Kendall's name, I think for the first time pretty much, other than like having Wes talk about her. Like, what do y'all think about her? Like, I think she's a pretty good competitor. She doesn't bring the best confessionals or the most drama, but she's like reliable and like she's a steady competitor. And I think if she doesn't get injured or something happens, maybe she could go to the end and maybe have a chance of winning. I don't know.
I agree.
Again, she's not my era of the challenge. And so I just have to go off of what is being told to me.
She's a road ruler.
Yes. And so like, that's kind of like the complete opposite of Veronica. Veronica, I've been kind of told who she is. Kendall, not so much. Like, to me, she's not in the confessionals. Like, the best way I use this to describe a lot of people, and take it as you will, it just reminds me of Wonder Bread. Like no seasoning, no nothing. Nothing is moving. The tables aren't being shook. Like, if she like maybe I could be wrong. Okay, maybe she can come in and win some challenges, and then I'll be like,
she can definitely win challenges,
but like she's not making decisions. She's not giving confessionals.
She actually did in season 1 though, didn't she do something with the lifesaver that was like, oh shit, she made a big move there. She is very, like you're saying, Josiane, like she's not giving you Tina level confessionals. She is not gonna make you laugh. However, and I do think that there is room for people like Kendall and Jody, especially in these all-star versions, because we know we're getting a lot of big personalities. I know Jody is from last season, and I wish she came back this season. Like, both have similar personalities of like, they're not going to give you a lot of great like verbal TV. However, like they are going to do well in the challenges. And so instead of just being stuck with like women who can't really hold their own, and we really don't see that this season, but we've seen it in other seasons that like you have a ton of layups and it takes until the final 6 or 8 to really have women who can compete against each other and hold their own with the men as well. Like Kendall has that capability, and so I think that's like why they keep bringing her back, is her physical prowess. It's not because of her personality or her lack of being able to buy waterproof makeup, because she always has mascara just streaming down her face.
Well, and she's tight with Darrell, and I think that's a big reason they keep bringing her back. I think he's requesting it. They were on the same original Road Rule season, and they were really tight in season 1. And I really think he's pushing them. Like, I'll only go back if my friend does, because that's the type of guy he is.
Like, but that, like, obviously I think she has the skills, I guess, but she's just like not memorable to me. Like, there are moments in the challenge, like strategic people, obviously, like you think Wes or whatever, or even Johnny Bananas, and like to me, like a big one for me is Cam. She's like new.
Killa Cam.
Queen
Cam. Bring her on All Stars.
I would.
She's very pregnant.
You know who I want to see on All Stars? I don't think it's happening, but I would have loved Leroy, but that's the side.
Roy Lee.
I know he quit, but Paramount, give him a good check and we'll have him on. Promise. He has a kid now. He'll provide. I know Leroy. He will provide. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like she's not someone in my head that kind of sticks out. And that's why I think we don't have conversations about her. And I feel like if she brings, game to it, I'd love to see it. But at the end of the day, like it'll do like so much for you. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't see her winning this season or like any season in the future. But that's just me. I could be wrong.
She kind of got like fucked over in season 1 because it got to the point where when it was a men's elimination, they got to pick the woman who went in with them, and because she was in like 3 or 4 eliminations that first season, because she kept doing so well in eliminations, men kept picking her as their partner. And so like you can only go in so many eliminations before you lose. Like some people get to spread that out over seasons, or I feel like Kendall just like had it all in one season. I think she has the potential to do it. It's just that like, do we want Kendall there for a whole season versus someone who might have a little bit less athletic prowess but more personality, and that's like the trade-off we get.
Yeah.
But I do think that like she at least serves the purpose of like, we have someone who's athletic and also like the men like working with her. I think they really respect like what she's able to bring to the table. They don't need her to be like cunning or witty.
Yeah, I think she's like I think she just falls under like kind of like a Jenny, like just like a physical asset, which is a big part of the challenge. So credit to her still. Just not the Josiane package.
Yeah.
That we root for, that we love, that we pay attention to. Sorry.
So can we, now that the challenge is over, skip ahead to the club scene?
Yes, that's my next thing. It says
Mr. DJ.
Out.
Because they left to go on a night out. No backyard parties anymore.
I love that John let us know that they did use Panda replay. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I might anytime I come on and guest, I might be like, so the song of the episode was, just because I love the music. Yes, God.
And so we start off, right, where Wes is in an alley and he sees a stray dog and he's like, oh, Kellyanne is going to love this. And he brings the dog in. The bouncer says, oh, you're Wes. You can come right in. And Kellyanne just, her frown turns upside down. And the rest was history, right? The dog is still living with them in the challenge house.
Actually, the dog is currently in part of the legend about the fact that Kellyanne is still doing that puzzle. The dog is actually whimpering beside her to this day. And so we want to thank Wes for his honor in bringing the dog, but also shame him, because why does the dog have to go through that?
And where is the cat also?
Lord, who knows? Saying. The legend still continues to this day.
Sorry for taking us off track, Kari.
No. I was actually going to say, I don't see a lot of myself in Kellyanne, but where I do is being the person in the corner at the party petting the dog versus interacting with anybody else. Like, that's my happy place. So like when Kellyanne was doing that, I literally typed in my notes, Kellyanne in the corner petting a dog is very much me. That's where I want to be all the time. I don't want to be with people. I want to be with a dog.
Shout out Nitro.
He's right here sleeping. He's snoozing. Aww. We had a little bit of an adventure before this, so I'm glad he's finally asleep. But back to our night out on the town. We have our drinking, we have our talking, right? And our first like meaningful conversation is Tina talking to Janae, and she's like, listen, I'm not going to give you a name, but I'm going to tell you who I don't want in there. You better not put me against Melinda or Veronica. Otherwise, it's not going to be good for you. Like, basically threatens Janae. And Janae, so smart socially. So smart. Does not react to Tina, but instead turns around to her, like, girl gang and is like, this bitch. Like, what the fuck?
And Jemmy was really hyping her up to be like, you're the reigning champ. How dare she say that to you, to come into your lane
and disrespect to you? Yeah. Honestly, Jemmy is like that one person who's like stoking the fire. She's yeah, get her. Like, she's kind of me when I'm sitting on the couch and I have nothing to do with it. I'm like, yeah, you tell him, get him. Yeah, no, Tina, what the heck were you thinking? I was so confused by that interaction. I was expecting Tina going, haha, I'm just kidding. And she just like was not. I was like, girl. I was like, Tina, now you're like setting yourself up to have your friends be in there. Like, not to say that like maybe they were already thinking about who they were thinking. However, I just feel like when you put that out there, like, I think she just should have pulled a Cynthia. Just been like, I don't want you give me whoever. I really think she should have just done that and ate her food, because really, like, the way she went about that, I think like set up for what we ended up happening. And like, I don't think this would have happened if she would have just been like, she could have either just not said anything or just said, hey, like, I appreciate you asking me or us having this conversation. I really would not like to go against my friends just because, like, and then, like, obviously, if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't put you against your friend. Like, come at it a little bit more humbly. You're not in a position to be making demands, asking for things. Like, I don't know what was going through Tina's head. Maybe she had a little much too much to drink, and so she wasn't thinking. But I was like, girl.
And even, when Janae is telling that to her girl gang, Kayla's like, well, if you're a loser, then you're a loser. You don't get to pick. And I was like, oh, Kayla, like she's had too much to drink. Reacting like that is what I was thinking. Like she was feeling like she won the challenge.
Kayla going, we do not reward bad behavior.
I literally got the ick when she said that. I was like, girl, what? Like,
see, I loved it because I knew that she's in a place of power and talking shit. But if it was Kayla in the opposite way, like if it was Kayla who had lost, she's going to be telling people like, anyone but Sylvia, please. Like,
100.
Like that's so Kayla though. Like that's just so on brand for her. So I loved it. When she's in power, she will let you know she is in power. So it makes her so good to watch to me.
It just reminded me of a preschool teacher. We don't reward bad behavior here. Please stop that. Like I was like, Kayla, come on. Why would you say it like that? Like it's just the way it was formulated that I just could not consume it and be like, yes, queen. Like, no. I was like, okay, that was an interesting choice of words that we allowed to string together to make that sentence.
See, I was so humored by it, but it wasn't like it just like to me it's just funny because that's her brand. Like
totally.
That's just it. Undisputably her. LT took the same approach when he was asked about like what he wants to happen with this, and he just said no one in particular, but not one of his boys. And we get a confession of Cyrus being like, they're going to put me in against him because this is what happens on the challenge. They make you compete against the people you don't want to compete against. So like Cyrus gets it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he was nervous because he doesn't want to go in 2 times in a row.
Mm-hmm. So we have the rest of the night out, and then we have our meeting with the authority. And Yes turns to Kendall and is like, I want to hear your opinion. But Kendall doesn't have an opinion. Kendall just recites what other people told her, which is that Tina doesn't want to go against Veronica or Melinda, and LT doesn't want to go against Cyrus, Nehemiah, or Darrell.
Again, Wonder Bread. Like, it was giving repetition.
And this is when, to me, Kayla had the moment of the authority when she's like, you know what? Why don't we each say 2 names of people that we're not going to nominate? And then she tells us, well, there's only one person that I'm not going to nominate, and everyone knows that's Sylvia. So I want to get intel from everyone else. And I thought that was a really savvy move. And it actually worked. Even though Yes was like, well, that's pretty revealing, isn't it? He still said names.
Yeah, and everyone had to kind of put at least 1 or 2 of their cards on the table. And I liked that Kayla offered a name first because
it was good.
Then you don't have to worry about someone chiming in and saying your person. Like when it got to Brad probably picks Derek over Wes, but Yes had already said I want to keep Derek around. So Brad has to now resort to like the pick that's probably going to make the group the most
unhappy.
Upset by saying like, no, I want to save Wes in this. But I agree with you. I think that was such a good move by Kayla. Was there anyone that was like surprising that in terms of who they wanted to save? Like Josiane, did you have any opinions on who decided that they wanted to keep someone else out?
I don't know. I was shocked by Brad. I was like, what? Like, I feel like maybe it's because like we just haven't seen Brad in the show. But like, I don't know where his game is at, but like, I feel like everyone just kind of knows that Wes is the guy that you probably don't want to stick your neck out for. And Brad was like, oh, let me put my head on the guillotine and you can prepare to sharpen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what? Like that's so random. Like, like to me, it's like I don't see Wes doing that for Brad anytime soon. And so for him to do that was kind of like weird. And because we don't actually get an explanation as to why he did that, I was just like, that was a choice. Aside from that, like I think I also am like Kayla in the situation where I'm like, I have to take notes of who's saying what because I'm like, I don't really know all these integrated relationships and who really connects with each other. Like for yes, it's for not me saying yes. For yes to say Derek, I was like, interesting. I don't think I've seen them interact once, but it's like good to know, I guess, for the future. Maybe this will have long term implications. And so I do think it was a smart move into making everyone lay out their cards because it also allowed me as a viewer who's like more of a new school challenge like watcher, challenge fan, to really get the tea on what's going on and like who's with who so that later down I'm like not confused by like alliances. So overall, I just like I think I was just kind of shocked by everyone because I didn't know what the tea was.
Mm-hmm. So Wes and Brad are very good friends in real life.
Okay.
That's why it didn't surprise me. And I didn't like, I think I read a tweet or maybe it was like a screenshot of part of an article of an interview with Wes before the season where someone asked him like, you are a pretty divisive person. People either love or hate you type of thing. Like, where did you stand coming into this house? And he was like, I have people who are in my life outside of here that I'm very good friends with. And I knew that they were with me. And Brad was one of the names that he mentioned. Yeah. So that's why I wasn't really surprised by it. But it also makes sense because it kind of aligns with what you said, Josiane, about Yes and Derek. Like, where the fuck did that come from? We haven't seen any interaction. Like, Brad's only been on our screen like once in 2 episodes. So like, I completely understand people being like, why is this happening? If you don't know that like Wes and Brad are good friends.
And after, everyone had said those names, Brad said Wes. A couple minutes later, a couple seconds in the show, Kayla's like, well, Wes, Nehemiah, Melinda are all from the same Real World season, Real World Austin. They have each other's backs more than any of ours. I'm just throwing it out there. And when earlier this episode, like she was in Wes's strat chat. It was, Wes and Kayla, but now she is like sneaky. She's throwing his name out there to see if anyone bites. And I thought that was a really savage move by her. Even though it didn't work, it shows that she has loyalty to no one but herself. And I like that of a player.
I had a little bit of an issue with when Yes said, I want to switch out Nehemiah for Wes because people that enjoy sabotage are open game to me. I'm sorry. Wes didn't create the fucking rules that there's going to be a sabotage involved when you win the challenge. Like, if it's his demeanor, I just think that's a little, like, I think it's grasping for some low-hanging fruit to be mad at Wes for that reason because, like, Wes comes on these shows and puts on these performances. Like, to say, like, that he's enjoying it or whatever, like, yeah, it's part of the game, but, like, Wes didn't sabotage Jordan in a way where he like took Jordan's bag of puzzle pieces and threw him 20 yards to make Jordan go chase him down. Like he had to give it to someone. So I was just like, okay, yes, I get that you like have your morals and standards and I appreciate that in a human, but like to make that be like such a point for you, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. I don't know if we have anyone who wants to defend Yes in that, but
I'm not gonna defend him, but I will say like the whole like strategy at this point was save 2 people, and Brad saved Wes, and for him to be like, not so much. I'm gonna tell you who you should save. What? Who are you to do that? I just like. I just like it just doesn't make any sense to me, and I feel like it's kind of a shame for like I don't know. I feel like there's this like moral ground thing. Like, I feel like you're on the wrong show. First of all, you're in the wrong occupation if like you're coming on reality TV and you want to preach like moral high ground, like in a game where people just lie to see and manipulate. Like maybe you can be that person, but for you to impose that on other people doesn't make you that great or that like moral. Like I don't know. It just felt like I don't know, for someone who advocates a specific way, for him to go around and be like, your voice and what you said and who you want to say save shouldn't matter because I feel like this person should get in trouble. I know, like I just found that really like a bit hypocritical, but like, you know, to each their own. Like, you know, obviously it don't work, but it was just like that was a choice that was being made.
So they come to a conclusion. They agree as the 6 of them that they're going to explain the method and how they got there, that each person saved a male and female, which wasn't exactly true, but it's enough to be honest. And there was a few people left and they chose from those people that were left. So after the authority, first we see Tina being told by Josiane, like, hey, just letting you know that we decided on Melinda and Mark to go into the authority. And Tina like gets mad. She's like, Melinda, why Melinda? And she hears the reasoning and she doesn't believe that she's being told the truth about what happens in the authority. But then she's kind of like, all right, whatever. Like, here we go. Fine, fuck it. But she was not happy about it. Anyone want to chime in on Tina and her reaction?
I'm so sorry, but like the fact that, you know, I feel like I'm so used to like the challengers like working out and stuff until when someone walks in to talk to them, they're like mid working out or at the like pool or chilling in the living room. All of these people are in their beds, and I just find it so funny. So for Tina to like kind of be like behind, like the camera's behind her and she's asleep, and she's like frantically like looking to the side and like, are you like, what are you talking about? Like, to me, just made me laugh. I was like, okay, this is so funny. First of all, like context wise, like this is giving me the giggles. But yeah, like I don't know. I mean, can you really blame Josiane? I think Josiane coming and telling the news to Tina, it could have been any other person, and then for Josiane to be like, "Hi, Tina. Just letting you know that you are going against the person you told me not to go against. Sorry." It's just like, to me, it was like funny. Tina also looks frantic in bed, like just like shifting around to like look at her. And so I was just like, okay, this is funny. But yeah, like not surprised. I think Tina is unapologetically herself. And so she doesn't think that much to like maybe reel it in. Whereas Josiane is like smiling, looking pretty, even though I'm sure she wants to say some things, you know, get her, but like she's like, again, calm, cool, and collected.
And I think that shows like her maturity, because I think old school Tina would have confronted her and made like a big deal. And that shows that like Tina's really thinking more, even though she tells us how Josiane's are really nice, but she has teeth. And we all have teeth, Tina. And karma is a bitch. And I was like, okay, Tina, you're bringing it. Like, she's ready to go. Like, she's here to play. Even though she sucks in these challenges, she's giving it to us on screen.
True.
And then Mark finds out because, is he told or does LT go up to him? I put in my notes that Mark goes to LT. It's
yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah. I didn't know if I wrote it down wrong because for whatever reason I like remembered it a different way than what I wrote down.
So like someone goes up to Mark, and we didn't talk about like Mark during the authority, but before he was like, oh yeah, I feel so great. All my friends are in there. I'm chilling. I was like,
right?
Okay, King. And then they're like, psych. And they're like, you're actually going in.
And that's what Tyler said too, though. He thought he was golden because his friends were in the authority. And then both guys get put in 2 episodes in a row thinking they're safe.
And I just love that. Like, I don't know why that makes me laugh. I like, the one thing I know about Mark is the fact that he advocated for All Stars. And so like when people call him the Godfather, I understand it in that premise. It could be like something completely different, but that's the premise I understood it from, because he kind of like curated, I guess, maybe probably season 1 or curated the show. Yeah. I don't know.
He put in so much legwork, like literally a year of like contacting people, getting interest in it, like presenting to Paramount and everyone being like, we can create something good here. He put a lot of work into making this happen.
And so that's why I was kind of like shocked that I was like, he's actually going in. I would not expect that for like week 2. Well, not week 2, like a few days technically, because the show's not that long.
So speaking of Mark, what did y'all think of his conversation with his little Mark
doll? Oh my gosh, I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
Like, do they sell those in stores? Did they used to sell those in stores when Road Rules was like first becoming a thing? Or did he get like specially made from somewhere? Or is it just like a Build-A-Bear?
I actually think, and I could be wrong about this, but I think that he might have gotten it as a gift from someone at like a Challenge Mania podcast because he goes to a
Oh,
lot of them. He does a lot of their live events.
cool.
And I think because I think Derek might even have one of him, but he
Wow.
didn't bring it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident about that. So it's probably just kind of like part of his, his shtick.
It was funny. I dig it.
There was something I was going to say about Mark that, I think part of it is the fact that it's LT in this arena. And if you've watched the last 2 seasons, we have seen LT fuck people up in pole wrestling.
Big time.
Like he broke 3 of Tyler's ribs, like fractured his wrist, like, and the season before I don't know if Ace is even alive because like LT might have murdered him. He like was plungering him. Like it looked like a plunger going into a toilet. And so if they're going to feed LT another pole wrestling, because we don't know what the challenge is going to be, I don't think it's the dumbest thing in the world to put Mark against him because I don't know who wins that pole wrestling. However, I know a lot of people don't win that pole wrestling LT. So if you're thinking like we've seen this man almost murder at least 2 other men in pole wrestling, like Mark's not the worst person to put against him because Mark might be the only person who can hold their own against him in it. But it also like beats Mark up a little bit coming back. So like you aren't getting full strength Mark after he's gone in of physical elimination against a guy like LT.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Jason.
Oh no, please go ahead, Josiane.
I was gonna say like I know that in the previous season they did go head to head, and so like Mark already did win against LT, and so. But to me, it's like what's confusing is that there's no actual communication about like who they want to leave. Like there's no like straightforward like, oh, we want LT to leave, and so this is why we're putting this person up. And so that's why I was like I get that they were saving people, but the logic behind why they chose Mark not being fleshed out was like confusing to me. And so I'm getting this information, like you're obviously bringing some good points. So I'm like, was that actually their thought process? Like if it so happens that it's a pole wrestle, or was their thought process, we want to get rid of LT, or we don't care which one of them goes, at least one of them does.
Yeah.
Like, because that wasn't fleshed out, like as a viewer, I was just like, I wish they would have elaborated a little bit more on that decision. Especially since Mark felt so comfortable with that authority being in charge. I don't know.
When we were watching the elimination challenge, like can we get into that? Like, because I was really unsure the whole time who was going to win. Like we're talking about it right now. Like I don't think anyone knew who was going to win. It was a battle.
Yeah.
These 2 monster, big, strong men competing against each other, stuck in the sand. Like it was intense.
So yeah, so let's set up this arena for our listeners. We had it had a name and I missed it and I didn't feel like rewinding because I was watching this in between
Lights Out
class segments. Thank you for that. Lights Out.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
I even looked up I wrote down Turn Off the Light or something like that was the name of it. So I wasn't too far off. Look at me.
Come on, the light.
There was light somewhere in it.
Let there be light.
We had the best way I can describe this is we have a large cylinder in the middle that is upright with another large cylinder attached to it that's parallel to the ground. And so each person is attached to an end of the cylinder, and your goal is to move yourself around this like circular path that the cylinder creates to turn off hit the button that would turn off this light beam. So basically like they had to dig in sand and try to use their strength to move forward, but also like hold themselves from losing ground against the other person. So it was a very physical challenge in the fact of like you needed your strength to be able to be successful in it. It wasn't physical as in like a hall brawl physical. And you had to have endurance because if you're both capable of holding your ground, like we saw in the men's challenge that it went beyond 45 minutes. Like they were there for a while.
Yeah.
But before we get too far into the men's challenge, they introduce our losers from the challenge, which is LT and Tina. They come down, and then they introduce the people that were voted in by the authority, which is Melinda and Mark. And Melinda has to be escorted down the stairs by Nehemiah. She is taking her time, ankles wrapped. She gets down there and she's like, TJ, I'm choosing to not participate. Like, your final was too tough and it messed up my ankle last year. And she just wasn't physically ready to come back into it. And ankle injuries suck. Like, if you've ever sprained an ankle, like, you've sprained an ankle for life. Like, you've caught that disease, unfortunately. It sucks. So I felt bad for her.
I get it. Someone who played basketball and sprained her ankle and ever since has dealt with the long-term consequences, lifetime long-term consequences of having a sprained ankle. I get it. However, I was like, can someone give her the Academy Award? Like, it was a little bit too much. Like, we had just seen her in the challenge. I'm sure she was dancing a storm at the party. Like, for her to like be in an elimination and have Nehemiah like escort her down and like be all dramatic, I was like, girl, please, like I see you, like, whatever, like, you're doing a lot. You could have easily went down those stairs, no problem, like, whatever. I just felt like the theatrics were on display. She was on Broadway and she got a Tony for it. It was giving like live performance.
I agree completely. It seemed pretty fake to me. Like, yes, she did hurt her ankle. We saw it in the final of All Stars 2. But if it was hurt so bad, she should not have been here. Because she wouldn't have been able to compete in the previous challenge in the previous episode.
But
I'm happy Tina stays. So I'll take Melinda going home every time.
I do think if Tina wasn't the person she was going against, it would be a different story. And 100. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And I know that we saw when she fell into the water, when she was getting out, she said, I re-aggravated my ankle. That was on the screen. And
yeah,
I don't know how severe it was. I just know that like sprained ankles suck. And especially if you aren't given the proper care for them, like I know the last major sprained ankle I had, they gave me like one of those air casts. So it's like a U shape and it like cured me in 2 days. But like, if you're not getting that shit, if you're just like stuck in an ace bandage, I can also understand. And like, it looked like she had an ace bandage from 4 years ago. Like she's been wearing that every day for a while. Like, and it wasn't giving her the support she needed. But regardless, like we said, we get to keep Tina. But before we actually find out that we get to keep Tina, this is what I thought was the most dramatic moment of the 2 episodes. When TJ goes, okay, well, we still have have an elimination. Tina, pick anyone you want to go against. It could be anyone. And Tina turns around and she's legit eyeing people up and everyone's like, oh my God, this isn't fair. This is like this is bullshit. Everyone is scared shitless. And TJ like lets it last long enough and then just goes, no, I'm just kidding. And we're not doing another elimination. Dude, I was even like, holy shit. Oh my God.
I was just like, hell yeah.
I partially respond that way out of anger, and not to derail too much, but I was upset when I was watching All Stars 2 last week that we had an elimination where Kendall got hurt. She couldn't compete. So her partner got to stay, but then Casey finds out she's pregnant and Kahada has to go with her because she leaves. Yeah. So it's like, what are the rules on who gets to stay and who gets to go and what determines it? Like Kendall's eliminated for a physical injury, but I think it was LT that got to stay even though Kendall left. But I mean, being pregnant can be seen as a physical injury too. And like, why'd Kahada have to leave? So then when TJ was like, oh, pick who you want to go against, I'm like, give me some fucking stable rules so I know what to expect. I was so mad in that moment. And then when he was like, just kidding, I'm like, oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was excited because I was like, oh, she gets to watch that. The sheer terror in people's eyes. I like the whole, like everything was being displayed. A lot was happening, but I could see specific people scared
like
for their lives. Mm-hmm. Like Like
I don't think the authority would have been involved. Do you think that they would have?
Because they only said the first place person was safe. He like specifically said the winners are safe. The others are just in the authority.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Who knows?
I think it would have been interesting if it would have actually happened. But like I just like how like Tina like embraced everything from like thinking she had it to not really having it and being like, okay, ha ha ha, like laughing at herself a bit. I love that.
So we don't get a women's elimination. Melinda is going home. I do think we lose a strong competitor if she has 2 good ankles, though, and hopefully we get her back in a later season because she was a lot of fun in the last season, like supporting that men's alliance and them the way they took her in. And I think that like her athleticism does help bolster like the legitimacy of All Stars.
Yeah.
But sorry, Melinda. Peace up. A-Town down. Now, on to this men's elimination. We have these big-ass men who got to go against each other, right? And so they both, like, on their marks, get set, go. Each go towards their cylinder. They are, as Mark says, like, he realizes immediately he's got to stay low and not give up an inch, but take an inch when you can. So Mark's strategy kind of works. I shouldn't say kind of, definitely works more than whatever LT's strategy was, where Mark is getting closer and closer to his button. Like he's far closer, much closer than LT is. And I think it's Josiane who is up in the stands and is like, what if LT just gets up, sprints, and runs for it? Like it's gonna take Mark off of, like, his weight is on the ground right now. That's the only chance he really has. And was it Nehemiah who was like, oh, that could work? I'm not 100% sure, but up in the stands, you get people being like, okay, LT, we got an idea for you. Like coaching out loud, like Mark can't hear it, which was kind of funny to me. Like it's not like you're wearing the earpiece in football and you can like radio into your quarterback being like, we're gonna run a slant route here.
And when this was happening, I thought Mark's allies were gonna be like yelling louder, like "Go, Mark! You can do it!" to try to like yell over the feedback that LT was getting, so LT couldn't hear it as clearly to then make his move. But it didn't work anyways.
Did you think that this was LT's only chance of winning, was doing this move?
I didn't think it was going to work.
I didn't think it was going to work, but I didn't think he was going to win either. So it was like, do you continue to push in a losing battle or try to mix it up and maybe it works?
I want to touch on the comment you made about like the stands. And that's what I mean by like my added confusion as to what the heck the goal was when they put Mark in with LT. Like it just like to me, I was like, they're cheering him on. So what exactly are we trying to accomplish? What was the authority trying to accomplish? And that's the one thing I wish like All Stars could do a little bit more is like elaborate what people are thinking. If they're not thinking anything at all, that's fine, but let me know so that I don't overanalyze and try to figure it out myself. Like I don't know, it's just like unclear. And so like that elimination, like we didn't hear any cheering really from Mark. So they call him the Godfather, whatever after he wins. But I was just like, were we trying to get him out in the first place? I don't know. Like just big overall question mark.
And I think he's going to be scorned. I think he's coming back with a vengeance because he is the Godfather. Like he's the reason they're there, and they put him in this early in the season. I think he is going to be like using this as motivation to win the next challenge and make big moves.
He did say going in this early is great because I give everyone else a front row seat to see that I am one bad motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I think with this elimination, it sucks whoever we lose, but it also is good whoever we get back. You know what I mean? Like, regardless, we're still getting someone who's like worthwhile to what's going on in the house. I hate that we lost LT. And like I said, please keep bringing him back. But something I did also notice is that alliance from last season that did a lot of damage, the King's Palace, 2 members gone tonight.
Yeah.
They lost Melinda. They lost LT. They don't have Tech this season. So it's really Nehemiah And I don't know if like Cyrus is kind of like working his way in, but like Nehemiah's alliance from last season doesn't exist anymore 2 episodes into this.
And I'm excited to see how Nehemiah plays without that alliance pulling him back, because they refer to him as the new king. So like, let's see him be a king. Like, where's his crown? I want to see him play.
Absolutely. So that's the end of the episode. We got through our first 2 episodes. There was a preview, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember what was in it. So we'll just be surprised when it comes out tomorrow. And I want to say, first and foremost, I'm so happy to be talking about the challenge again. This is such a fun show to talk about. There's so many like great dynamics. You have the strategy, you have the social, you have like the fun, you have the shit talking, you have like, it's so great. I loved getting to talk to both of you about it. So Jason, speaking of talking, what are you doing on the internet these days? Who are you talking to? Where are you talking? What are you doing? Give us the lowdown so people can follow you and get your great content. Where the hell is your thing? I wasn't prepared for this. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Found you.
You can find me in the Twitter streets at TheRealJO. You can find me here at Silent Podcast. Has anyone heard of the hit ABC show called Abbott Elementary? If you have, it was just announced. It was renewed for season 2 earlier today, and it gets the Wednesday ABC primetime comedy slot that Modern Family had. I spoke about the final 4 episodes into the season recap pod with Sasha, with Gia, with Chappelle earlier this week. Download it. It's hilarious. Other than that, I'll be here talking about Challenge All-Stars. And I'm posting on Twitter about the Dallas Mavericks Western Conference Finals, NBA playoffs. Let's go, Mavs. Luka Mania. Mark my word, we're going to win.
Mark Cuban, my word, we're going to win.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Josiane. Oh, you're not Katie.
Oh, hello, Katie.
I'm just so used to being with Katie.
Honestly,
I miss her so much.
I'm so honored that you would even confuse me with the icon, the legend, the moment. Katie, y'all can follow her on the
Real Slim Katie.
You know, and on Twitch there is an underscore at the end. Okay. But unfortunately, I'm not Katie, and I don't have a cool username like her.
Yours is cool.
Oh, thank you. It's lack of originality, I guess. I don't know. But y'all can follow me on, as Jason put it, the Twitter streets on at Josiane XNM, JOSIANEXNM. I'm also on Instagram if you also want to follow me there. I mean, I won't shy away from a new follower. And honestly, let me do something that Kari does when we podcast. Y'all can even PayPal me at that username if you feel so inclined to do so.
Yes.
Aside from that, I am obviously a silent podcaster. Usually I'm known for Big Brother Canada. We're trying to get some post-season interviews out there. So keep an eye out that if you like all things Big Brother Canada. We had such a cool season. And you can watch our exit interviews with the winners and the runner-ups, as well as Helena Final 4 and JC Lynn Final 5.
Way to spoil the season.
Oh,
just kidding.
Oh my God, spoiler alert. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I'm so sorry if you just watch the show and for amnesia. Like short amnesia.
The whole season's amazing. Everyone should watch it and listen to their coverage. It was amazing.
Yes. And I also cover I don't know, alert with someone special, Kari. So you guys can watch us just talk about The Circle. The new episodes are coming out like in a few hours, no?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all get into it because the last 2 episodes were so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so excited to see what happens. Love we kind of ended on a cliffhanger. So tune in, get ready to and listen to us if you like both of our voices.
And you can find me on, I'm more on like a Twitter cul-de-sac, I think. I don't know if it's so much a street. Like this is a dead end. If you end up on my street, like you're stuck there. So
it's actually an alleyway, to be specific.
Where the dog is.
Yeah, trash cans, garages.
That's where Wes
stray
found
dogs.
her.
Yeah.
Me and Wes. That's what's happening on. KGD26 for Twitter, for Instagram, for TikTok. I just put up a TikTok for a video of my mom last year surprising her at her 60th birthday party. And like, not to get too far off topic, but I went and like watched a baseball game of the school I used to work at today. And so all of those kids have seen my TikTok at this point because I don't care. Now I'm not a teacher. And I had like 10 different kids come up to me today and be like, you look just like your mom. So it was it was weird, funny, but whatever. So yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course the important one, Venmo, KGD26. And in terms of what I'm doing with Silent Podcasts right now, it's more like, what am I not doing? I am podcasting every day this week. So you can hear me on Twitter. Well, I guess not hear me. Yeah, because we promote it
Twitter
live
Spaces.
on Twitter. Yeah, so they show like the videos live when you do that option, which I do. I like that. So on Twitter, we're silent_podcast. On both Twitch and YouTube, you can find us by searching Silent Podcast. Subscribe, follow, all of the above to everything we do. So currently what we've got going on is Wednesday nights we podcast about Real World Homecoming on our podcast called Stop Being Polite. That's me and Katie. We're hoping to get Jason on eventually, whenever that works out. I can't wait for that. And then we are going to start regularly being Thursday nights for the Challenge Recap podcast, TJ Hates Quitters. So be ready for that. We want to try and get you the content as quickly as possible with these episodes coming out on Wednesdays. And then Katie and I cover usually once a week, Real Housewives on the Cool Water Show. So we just put out like a near 3-hour episode covering a whole bunch of stuff last night. So that's in your feeds. Go check it out if you're a Real Housewives fan. If you're not, it's a great time to get into Atlanta and Beverly Hills. Both just started recently. Both should be really good seasons, and there's some other stuff coming out soon. So if you're looking to get into a new show, it's definitely captivating in its own unique way. I highly suggest that. And last but not least, I podcast with Josiane about The Circle on Alert. And so we'll be back next Monday to cover the first 2 episodes and Tuesday to cover the next 2 of these 4 that are coming out tomorrow. So we have a lot of content coming. In addition, we are currently in the midst of expanding our podcasting roster. So we're looking to get into more scripted TV, some more reality TV. So if there's anything that you want to see here from this network, let us know, and we will try to make it happen, as we are recruiting people like by the second currently. So we have a lot of stuff coming your way, and we would love if you subscribed, rated us 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars,
only 5 stars.
Yeah, if it's not 5 stars, then just keep it moving. And spread the word, because the more we grow, the more we're able to do for you, and that's the main goal right now, is to be able to cover more. But until Thursday, you're going to have to miss us until then. So we will be back covering Thursday's episode. I think Jason's coming back Thursday, right? We'll see if Josiane wants to hang out with us again. She might be traveling or something, though. I can't remember. I can't remember what day it was. I know you told me.
Yes,
so
I am going to the United States of the Americas. I am Canadian. I am going on Thursday. So
all right, so we won't have Josiane, but we'll have a special guest for us. I got someone in mind. But until then, enjoy your time off from the challenge. We will catch you next time. Thanks for listening. We had so much fun. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.